Baturdays. Baturdays. Omnidog and the Minister of Comics. Talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat. With a name like that, you think they talk more about the bat. Baturdays. 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 In the BatCave.
Heyo, and welcome. A little bit late because I had to restart my computer to get it going. And whoa, what Taylor is this? Is this Earth 2, Taylor? What up, buddy?
Not the Minister of Comics.
No, you are Taylor Talks Comics, who is a frequent. Well, no, you're not a frequent guest. You should be a frequent guest.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Why is no? Okay. I'm having technical difficulties, but I'm okay now. Okay. Did I ask how you were?
I'm doing great. I don't know if you did or not. I did officiate a wedding today, so I'm kind of minister-like.
Oh, I didn't even know you were ministerial. What type of service was it?
It was just non-denominational, I guess. I'm like ordained online. I'm not like I'm not a real doctor.
But you play one on TV?
Yeah, this is my fourth wedding I officiated, though.
In person?
Yeah.
Did you wear a coat and tie, or what did you wear?
Yeah, jacket, tie, slacks, everything.
Wow.
The whole shebang.
I would have worn a Hawaiian shirt, but that's what I always wear. So.
Well, I let the bride decide. I asked her what she wanted me to wear, so.
Were these friends of yours, or did they just randomly pick you out of the internet?
It was a coworker, and that was the plan B, actually. She had a officiant drop out on her, and she happened to be working with me one day. And she was like, out loud, was like, my officiant just dropped out. And I'm like, actually, I'm ordained. So if you want me to do it, I can.
Wow. How big of a wedding?
I think it was like 150.
Whoa, that's a lot of people. So did you muffin your lines up, or are they really married now?
They're really married. I think I did all right. I realized on my script, because I had a script to like look off of in case I got stuck. On one part, I had the pronouns wrong, and I said like, "Do you take her?" when it was the bride asking. It was a me and a woman heterosexual marriage, and so I caught it before I said it out loud though, so everything was good. Even though I had typed it wrong, I said it right. So that's all that matters, right?
So yeah, under pressure, you fixed it, and nobody even knew.
I know.
Right. So where are you going? Are you going with them on the honeymoon? Oh no, I guess you don't do that anymore.
No, I bailed before the reception and everything. I had a show to do with you.
Sorry?
I had a show to do, so I had to bail out.
Yeah, man.
They said, "You want to stay?" And I said, "No, I've got to go talk with Omnidog."
Yeah, and they said, "Oh, Omnidog. Okay, we're sorry we even made you work today."
I know. They said, "Is his audience bigger than ours?" And it will
actually be. It will be. I need a few more. We've got
has the potential.
Yeah, it has the potential. Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of people in the chat already. Cycle's already in there yelling at us. Okay, I'm going to ignore that first one. Noir Wolf, welcome. Yeah, that's Cycle. He's welcome, Darkwave Fairy. And James is responsible for that amazing thumbnail.
Oh, he made that?
Yeah, he did that. I have a whole. I can figure now. We figured out something because they were always if I tried to use use the things he sent me as thumbnails before, a lot of them have come out pixelated, and we realized. Well, James realized that it was Facebook compression, so we figured out a workaround. My wife put on the hidden gems part with Taylor Talks Comics. And James is amazing. So thank you, James.
Yeah, thank you. I had an idea to try to do. I was trying to find a picture today to do one. And since we're talking about hidden gems today, I was gonna try to do like a Indiana Jones in short round. So like you'd be like Indy and I'd be short round. Put our
Well,
faces on them.
if you have any ideas like that, send them to James because he'll make
I
it
might have
happen in
to.
like 10 seconds.
He's like the
He's
super
probably already
producer.
got it down there by
Well,
the
tell him to
time
get
I
ready
get
for
down
next
to it.
time.
Yeah. I should definitely have you. Oh, I know. I was saying that you're a frequent guest, but you're really not. But I need to work you more into the rotation. I am halfway through, a little more than halfway through, just an update on Justice League International.
Yes.
And I like it enough to keep going.
Okay.
So that's the best compliment I can give it, is that I want to keep reading.
It is a big book, so that's true.
It is, it's a big Omni. But also I had a period in there and I'm starting to feel better. And I'm sorry that I'm always talking about this, but this is like the major thing in my life, is that I had some really bad issues going on. And you and I talked about it before the show. Had some good days and I put out some overviews. I've been able to do some rearranging and organizing my books, actually. Oh, and I forgot my iPad. So that is where one of the books is. So before we get to it, maybe I'll have my wife bring it down to me. I will do that. Let's see.
Did you get a new microphone, by the way?
I did. Yeah.
It has like colors to it.
Yeah. I can set it to a single color. Actually, it's a little bit. There we go. The spit guard, and to make sure I don't pop my peas too much now is right there.
That's awesome.
I can set. It's really a gaming microphone, but
Oh, okay.
I don't game online, so I could set it for one color, but I like the changing colors because it changes colors like my Omnidog sign does. So thank you for noticing. Yes, I do have a new mic.
That's very cool.
Brave and the Boys is here. Yo, William Lee,
Hey.
good to see you. Brave and the Boys, it's my favorite YouTuber, Taylor, and he has Jess on as a guest. Okay, James, please put Brave and the Boys in timeout. I'm not even kidding. Aloha. Good evening to Kane. Say hi to the Brave and Boys because he's getting timed out for 5 minutes. This is from Blues Brothers. You got my cheese whiz, boy? Today's thumbnail from Superman 247. Very good. YP's here. Today I learned that Johnny is a great singer. Johnny who?
Cash?
Johnny Quest? Johnny Cash? Well, it sounds like he went to a show. I also met Kyle Starks, Phil Hester, Bob Hall, and Jim Shooter.
Yeah,
James
he went to the Owensboro Comic-Con.
Oh, that's what it was. How was Jim Shooter? He was super friendly and full of great stories. That was an imposter. That's not the Jim Shooter I met.
I was going to say, you had a very different experience.
Yeah, he was like not even engaged and just wanted my $40.
I think Gabe, who's on Omni Bros with you, I think he had when he was working at the comic book shop, I think Jim Shooter was there as a guest. I think Gabe said the same thing. Like he was just full of so many stories.
Wow, maybe I just didn't try hard enough. I had the Legion of Superheroes Omni that I had him sign, and of course the Ghost of Pharaoh Lad that I had him sign, and maybe it was me. Maybe it was a me problem.
Or maybe maybe it was a story. Maybe he's not proud of that one.
No, he said I wrote this when I was 13, and I said, "Yeah, I heard that. That's pretty cool." Yeah. And
you would think
where
that
our
would have
conversation ended.
Right. How many people brought him a Legion of Superheroes comic to sign that day? Probably not very many. It's probably like a lot of Secret Wars and that kind of stuff. But you think he would have been like impressed? He'd be like, "Whoa, you really know your stuff."
He was like, "No, I want your $20," because I was gonna go. I was like, I hope he's really friendly because I want to make a short video with Jim Shooter and myself holding up the comic book and going, "Very fine condition. Look how great this comic book is." And if he put the shutdown on that, he was like, "I need to get to the 0 people behind you in line." Chris, hello. Okay, so he enjoyed the Owensboro free for all. Don't you just love when the computer requires a restart just before something important? Yes. And my show. It's the Cardinal of Comics.
The Cardinal
That's a
of
good
Comics.
one.
All
The
right.
Cardinal of Comics.
I like the alliteration.
Yeah. Guz Buzz is here. Good to see you, Guz. I haven't talked to you in a long time. Goose Booze. Happy Baturday to Sazmurf. Yes. Yes, I did. And why aren't you in timeout yet? An upgrade, Goose Booze, yeah, Goose Booze. Smash that like button before you get put in timeout, Jake. Yeah, you're right. AS is here. What up, AS? Can't have a bad Saturday with the Omnidog on live and the thumbnails fire, James. Thank you, Jesse. Say what? Ooh, he's got a new avatar. Spooky.
Oh, the Misfits. That's a
What's
Misfits,
that now?
right? That's
Is that the Misfits?
It looks like it. Am I wrong?
I think I only have one Misfits album, Misfits
okay.
AD, and so I wasn't as into them as I was into a lot of other bands.
Okay.
Oh, is he a mod? What did I do to myself? Johnny from the chat. You mean Johnny from Finland? He's a mod. Oh my gosh. Johnny Fontaine. Oh, here's Mary M. We just had some of your coffee today. When I say your coffee, it's the one you had Patty buy. That was the last of it at
what kind of coffee is that?
Heroes Con Coffee. Rick Ray's here. Good to see you, Rick Ray. And update on Tracy the Realtor. Rick, I'm sorry. She's thrown in the towel on the book you recommended. And I am going to recommend, because next Saturday, we're having Tracy in for the Halloween monster cereal taste test. And I think I'm going to give her Days of Sand to read. I think that's an easier read than Square Eyes.
Tales of Sand?
Days of Sand. Do you not know that book?
No. I know Tales of Sand, the Jim Henson story.
Yeah, no. I'll go get it in just a sec.
Okay.
Yep, it's the Misfits.
Okay.
Yes, that Johnny. He's in Finland. How did you hear him sing? Did he send you a video, or I didn't what?
Or did he fly all the way? Did he fly all the way over for the Owensboro Comic Con? He said, "Forget New York or San Diego. I'm going for Owensboro."
Definitely a more straightforward read. Yeah, I think so. Always go with a cycle wreck. A Rick wreck is a recipe for disaster. Rick, how are you taking that? Days of Sand is the book about the Depression, the Dust Bowl, and a New York photographer, kind of rookie photographer, gets sent out by the agency during the Roosevelt administration so he can get pictures of the Dust Bowl, send it back so that they can, the New York Times and New York papers can start letting the rest of the country know what it's like in the Dust Bowl and what a disaster it is.
Wait, was this, you did a book club on this, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about, but I have not read that yet.
I think you'd love it. It's definitely okay. I read it this year. I think it came out last year. I believe, is it by a Norwegian author or no? I think it's by a Netherlands writer. And she did extensive research, and it's really cool. It's got, not only does it have, a lot of actual photographs, but the artwork is really clean and really good lines. It's we get a lot of character development on the part of the photographer, which I know Kristen likes, and of course everybody should like that. But he really grows as a character throughout the book, and it's a fast read, but you shouldn't burn right through it. It's historically factual because she based all her research. I think she flew to the Library of Congress to do all her research. So it is amazing. I actually know right where it is, but I don't want to leave dead air going, unless you have something you can talk about for 30 seconds.
Oh,
Why don't I wait till we start talking about our hidden gems?
there we go.
And while you're talking about a hidden gem, I will go get the book.
All right, I have it written down too, so I won't forget to look it up later.
Johnny sent me a SoundCloud link. Blew my mind. Why hasn't Johnny sent me a SoundCloud link? What's going on with you, Larry? That you're so special. I said, okay, this is Cycle yelling. I said, give her Joseph Mormon by NVS. She said she digs nonfiction / history. Do you have that Joseph Mormon book?
Look at that, right
Robert
on hand.
Smith. That's Noah Van Scrivener. Skyver.
Skyver, yeah.
Yeah. I like his work. He's a very nice guy.
This book is cool too. It has like they're not gilded edges, but they're like orange edges. It comes with a ribbon.
Nice.
It's very, very fancy book.
And is this available? Wait a sec. No, don't tell me where it's available yet. I'm just gonna give my code Omnidog. Whoops. No. What happened now? Omnidogs. $2 off at Organic Price Books. $2 off with Omnidog. Code 5% off shipping 3 or more books together. Omnidog ship it together. So where did you get that book? Is that available at all online retailers?
It should be. It was published by Abrams Comic Arts.
Oh, okay.
And they're the publisher that put out the
yes,
Treehouse of Horror books, and they've done some other books too. But I don't know if it's at Organic Price Books, but you can find it anywhere. It's still in print.
Yeah,
it just came out last year, I think.
And have you read it?
Yeah, it's great. It's really straightforward though. So I know like because obviously Joseph Smith is like, the beginning of the Mormon Church and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know the Mormon Church has like under scrutiny and has been criticized. There's been a million documentaries about how people don't like them or whatever. But Noah Van Skyver himself was raised Mormon, no longer practicing Mormon anymore. But he wanted to do like a straightforward biography showing like warts and all, sure, but he didn't want it to be like he didn't want to lean either way. He didn't want to say like this guy was corrupt and awful, but he also didn't want to praise him and make him look better than he was. So it's really straightforward biography if you're into that. It's like not as sensationalized as it could be, I guess. But it's a thick book. I guess it's like, it's 400 plus pages. But Noah's artwork is amazing.
Let me highlight you here so we can see. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he's one of the, I think he's current day one of the best storytellers in comics. All of his work is just like so fluid, like as far as like the pacing of the story and whatnot. It just like all of his pages, all of his comics, I'm sorry, are like page turners. They just flow so nicely. But yeah, he's a really cool dude too.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
Unofficial hidden gem.
Unofficial hidden gem. Let me call my wife to have her bring down. Let's see if I can actually get her live on the air. She won't be drunk like Omar, so it won't be as fun.
You have to use your radio voice. Like, hello, you're on the air.
Hello, you're on the air. Hey, could you bring me my iPad, which should be on top of the little printer? If you see it right there. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Bye. I should ask for a pizza too.
Oh.
Unfortunately, Rick. Oh, he's in shambles now. We got Rick wrecked. Sorry, Rick.
Rick wrecked.
Jess, have you figured out who the F Luffy is yet? No, I don't. Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome. Hi, everybody.
Hey.
They all say hi back.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to know who Luffy is?
No, it's a joke on Omni Bros because I don't. Somebody kept asking about Luffy one time, Luffy, Lufa, whatever. Lufa. And Geo, James Geo, somebody clipped it of me going, "Who the F is Luffy?" Only I said the whole thing. And was he a character in One Piece?
He is the main character.
He's the main character. Why is Discord updating right in the middle of my show. Stop it, Discord. What are you doing? Oh, he's the main character. Okay, I don't think I'm going to get to it this year, but I would like to see the live action. What the? Get out of my life! What? I didn't ask you to. Discord, what are you doing?
It's really good. The live action One Piece.
That's what I heard. Before Discord started updating right in front of me, I've heard good things. What is it, like 8 episodes?
8 or 10, I think. And then it's been renewed for another season.
Okay.
But it's really good, and it's getting praised by One Piece diehards, which is a big deal because in the anime manga fandom, they usually automatically outright hate any sort of live action adaptations. So the fact that it's getting praise from them is like kind of a big deal.
Yeah,
From that community.
because we all know that fans are the first to hate on anything.
Unfortunately, it seems that way.
Yeah. If Jess could access the Speed Force, he could get Days of Sand and we wouldn't know he left his seat. If I could access the Speed Force, I'd go back in time and give her Days of Sand 8 months ago, and this would already been read.
And then Rick wouldn't have gotten wrecked.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been Rick wrecked. I'm sorry, you're wrecked, Rick. Noah Van Sciver was a madman for dropping 2 books in the same month.
Yeah, I think the same month.
What was the other book?
I have it.
Oh boy, look at you with things in your
I
reach.
know.
That's
So I just moved and I finally have my library kind of set up. It's not totally unpacked, but mostly set up. I think this is the one that came out the same month as Joseph and the Mormons. This is like a slimmer one, but it's a combination of like short strips. It's like a lot of autobio stuff in it.
Ooh.
Yeah, like I know you like autobio comics. Like he's like this generation's like Dan Klaus, like of that ilk of being able to do good slice of life / autobio stuff.
Dan Klaus does autobio stuff?
Yeah, maybe Dan Klaus was one a good example. Sorry.
You mean Harvey Picar or
Art Crumb? Yeah, Harvey Picar. Maybe that's probably a better example because Dan Klaus always did like stories and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know any. I know there's a new Dan Klaus book out that Psycho Cleveland got like 3 weeks ago somehow.
I know. I still haven't picked that up yet. Monica. Yeah, so not slice of life stuff though is what I meant, not autobio, but
and I love slice of life stuff.
Yeah.
I like I picked up a bunch of his mini comics at Heroes Con, and he was genuinely such a nice guy, and he introduced me to the woman next to him who I told you about that works for Fantagraphics.
Oh yeah.
She's like a big deal book designer there. And I told her about my unfortunate encounter with the not neat stuff. What's the other people? Hate, yeah, the hate one. And she was distraught, and I had to write her and say, "It's okay, it's okay. There's no worries."
You say that in because I know you had that history at the book plate. I got the same book plate. It leaves a lot to be desired. But they had cool ones for Monica from Dan Klaus. It was like it's like I don't know how big it is. I don't have it. I saw people show it off online, but it looks like a comic book cover, like an old classic comic book cover, and he signs it at the top.
How do you get that?
I think you had to pre-order it through Fantagraphics, which I didn't know because we had this history with this book plate from Hate. I've no longer pre-ordered things from Fantagraphics.
Sure, I don't blame you.
But now that I saw this one, I was like, dang it, I wish I would have.
Maybe I was responsible for that by having her laser focus on making a better book plate.
You know, you could be onto something though, because that would line up right. They're probably preparing the next book plate pre-order thing right around that time. You could be. Let's just say you're responsible for it.
Okay. I liked As a Cartoonist way better, but the Mormon book is historical and fantastic.
I agree with that.
Upper management to the rescue. Yes. Is video buffering? Is anybody out there? Is your video buffering, or is it just Razor? Razor, good to see you, by the way. Patty, what up? Apparently, Matthew, good to see you. Just how much for your woman? The girls, how much for the little girls? Your women. We want to buy your women. That also is from the Blues Brothers. Thank you. If you have to get into One Piece, the live action show is a good jumping on point. Peace and love. That's the only way I'm getting into One Piece. Isn't it 100 volumes or something?
I think they just released like 103, and then the anime is daunting as well. The anime is up to like over 1,000 episodes.
I
Yeah.
think everybody knows that's not happening.
So the live action is the way to go for you.
Awesome. I didn't even get a chance to watch the Cowboy Bebop live action because the preview looked really cool, and by the time I wanted to start watching it, it had already been canceled, and everybody was hating on it and said it was terrible. And I don't even think it hardly got any episodes released, did it?
It got a full season, but yeah, Netflix did that thing which they keep doing this, and I don't know why they like canceled it like almost immediately after it came out. I don't know if they have like some sort of like buzz meter that goes on before the show comes out that they know how successful it's going to be before, but they cancel these things like almost right, like that one Mark Miller.
Yeah.
What was that?
Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah, they canceled it like the day before the first episode dropped. They canceled it. It's like, what are you like? You're killing any sort of hype this show could possibly get.
How would I even want to watch that Jupiter's Legacy show if it got canceled already?
Exactly.
And that to me that seems like the bizarro world of programming.
Right, it's like counterproductive, right? Like you can have like behind the scenes, like we're probably going to cancel this, but don't announce it. Like don't throw it out for the people. They don't need to know. Why does the public need to know that early?
Because it kills interest. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm old enough to remember when being a fan of something meant you liked it. Oh, Matthew, how things have changed.
Matthew, that's why I like channels like Jess's and other YouTubers that keep it positive. I want to hear about what you like and what you love about whatever medium I'm watching on YouTube. I don't want to hear all the it really like I despise the fact that negativity and like ragging on something gets more views on YouTube. Like I think it's a terrible like assessment of our society that's what's getting more views. But
yeah, as Very Fine Condition says, the internet was a mistake.
Yeah.
And I'm aware of the irony of my saying that being on the internet, but yeah. Taylor is a Noah Van Sciver stan, confirmed.
Yes, absolutely. I have all his mini comics. I think I have everything he's put out over the last few years, at least.
You're a hep cat. Let's see, do I have any Van Sciver stuff right at hand? Because I feel like I took a bunch of Blammo.
Oh yes, that's his. That's like his 8-ball Blammo. It's like his one-man anthology.
Right. I don't. Let's see. Did I get this from him or did Cycle send me this? Because
I think that's issue like 10.5 or something.
This is issue 10.
Oh, it's just 10.
It just says 10. Yeah, boringly just 10.
He's released 10.5 after that. Then.
I think I stuck. Cycle sent me a ginormous. There it is.
Goiter.
Goiter. Noah Van Sciver. This is tiny. His last comic.
Oh, that's one I don't have. I think he did that with that Swedish publisher like Koos or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Mini Koos it says.
Yeah, that's one I don't have actually.
Oh, I'll sell it to you for $100. It's funny. Oh yeah, it's funny that he draws himself this way because I don't really think that's what he looks like.
He looks like that without the mustache. He used to have that actual mustache though for a few years.
I feel like he has more hair than he's giving himself credit for.
No, I think he's completely shaving it now.
Oh, maybe you're right.
He wears a hat usually too, though.
My Hot Date. That's NBS.
Have you read that one?
I have not.
That's a good
Other
one.
Embarrassments.
You need to read that one. That's really good autobio stuff.
He did sign that one. Oh, here's Blammo 10.5.
Oh, there we go.
Let's see. Did that Madman Cycle send it to me, or did I? No, I got that at. He signed it. The float. These are some things that I really want to read. Goiter.
Did you get any issues of his mini comic series Maple Terrace?
Maple Terrorists?
No, Terrace, like a
Maple Terrace, like a
Yeah.
place?
yeah, like a
I don't-
place.
I don't think so. Let's see. I bought everything that he had for sale there. Oh, here's a
Yeah, I don't
Reed
know if he had those
Chancellor.
on hand.
Michael Mouse. That has to be from Cycle. Yeah, this is all Cycle stuff. Let's see what else. Noah Van Sciver. Oh, this is Daniel Warren Johnson stuff. So I got that myself. I think that's it for Sciver. Van MacGyver Sciver.
Yeah, he has a new. It's a 3-issue series. It's called Maple Terrace, and it's about his childhood. And 2 issues have come out so far, with a third on the way, I think. But
And where do you get this?
it's from
From his
shoot.
website or something?
No, it's from a small publisher. It starts with an S. Cleveland, let me know in the chat. He'll drop
Oh, is
it.
that the place that has everything else that Cleveland gets?
Maybe.
Scattered Comics or something?
No,
I feel like
they're really like a small independent publisher, but they have like a subscription service where they mail you each issue. It's kind of cool.
okay, say that again. I'm sorry, I was looking at Cycle's rant.
No, it's fine. It's a subscription thing. You can like subscribe to Noah's 3-issue series, and then whenever one comes out, they send it to you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Taylor's a Head Cat. The recommendations at the back of As a Cartoonist were great too. I would hope that none of R. Crumb's books are autobiographical. I've read a lot of them that are autobiographical that deal with his own crazy thoughts.
Yeah, in the back of the As a Cartoonist, he has like comics that he recommends people read.
Oh, that's cool.
And he drew like little covers of each of them.
Well, that's a lot of work.
It reminds me, like, you know, when you get like the liner notes of like a CD, and it shows you like what the band's like. I also like what the band listens to on the road or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's how you find more bands. Kind of remind me of that.
Cycles already bought a second copy of Monica. Well, I'm sitting here with nothing.
I know, me too.
What?
That book's selling like hotcakes too. Like it's
good.
It's a big time seller. Like, you know,
Shit.
Monsters by BWS a couple years ago was like their big seller. I think Monica is going to be like those kind of numbers where like the book market, it does huge and stuff.
Did you get a book plate for Monsters?
I didn't. I opted for the
Because
regular
I heard
copy.
that book plate was awesome.
Yeah, and the book was different too. I think the signed copy, the letters are like silver on it, and it says like signed on it down here or something. Like the actual book itself is a little bit different.
After my I did tell her my pee bag rant Cycle. I sure did. I'm glad you're getting a kick out of that. I was a little gun shy about picking up another Fantagraphics book plated edition. So she didn't design the holiday and note cards. I don't think she was responsible for that.
I have my hate box set back here. If anybody, I can pull out my book plate real fast if someone wants to see it. If anybody doesn't know, they're not in on the joke.
Okay, we'll see. Those signed book plates sold out hella fast. We're talking about the Monica ones.
Yeah, the Dan Claus ones.
James has a message for you. Taylor, I sent you a DM on Discord with a rough outline of your Indiana Jones idea. Are you in my Discord or was it are you in somebody else?
I just got in it. Cycle Cleveland sent me the invite a few days ago.
Oh, good. Good.
I think I've only sent like one message in there so far though.
Well, I try and show up every day just so people know that I'm actually interested, and I should have a time. No, that'll never happen. I was going to say I was going to schedule a time where I show up every day, but no, that's not happening.
Yes, that's perfect, James. I don't want to show it on air though, because we'll use it for a future episode.
Okay, great. Will you grab? The answer to this is yes, if I get the chance. The upcoming DCBS signed edition of Night Eaters Volume 2 by Marjorie Lee and Takeda. The first one I have is that edition, and that's a cool book plate. It was not on another retailer last week, but somebody already had a copy that they showed off in the Omnibus Collectors group. So I'm hoping that it's up for grabs this week because I would like matching. I loved Night Eaters, and I would love matching signed and numbered editions.
Here it is. I found the book plate. I got it down for
Oh,
you.
this is the P bag. Yeah. Oh, it's that. I don't remember it being that big.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that feels.
But like if like I understand sketches take a while and they're a different thing, but like have like a little bit of artwork from him at least.
Or something besides the little Holiday Inn logo there at the
Right.
bottom.
Which is a great logo, but there's so much. I like put a picture of like Buddy on there or something.
Yeah. Something to differentiate it from other stuff.
It is the only Pete Bag signature I have, which he's like one of my favorite of all time. So it's really cool that
Yeah.
even says exclusive on it.
Exclusive to this Holiday Inn.
I wonder how much these go for on the secondary market. You think if I post this on eBay, people would be like, "Did you stay at a hotel, Pete Bag? What is that?" This is a great
Kane
box set, though.
says,
It pains me that Jess has that experience because this is and I know he loves this comic.
oh yeah.
But this is such a good box set that I highly recommend to everybody. But
Yeah. I do too. Just
yeah.
don't spend the extra dosh for the signature card.
Well, those are all out of print now. Those are super rare and exclusive. So
Well, now I'll sell it. Kane, as a matter of fact, Kane is quite active in the Discord. I've seen Kane in there a lot. Omnidog, don't watch the live action Cowboy Bebop. It's not the best. Watch the anime, which I have, and the movie, which I have. Killer music from Yoko Kanno and the Seatbelts. I have 3 of those albums, and they're releasing, and I'm going to get it because now they're releasing vinyl that has all the music, especially the introduction and I think the ending music. Those are all copyright issues and they could never be put on vinyl, but now they're putting out the Seatbelts and the introduction piece, which has a name that somebody will tell me here in a second. So you'll be able to get the whole thing, and now I'll have 4 albums. And why do I have 3 of those albums, you might ask? I'm looking for them right now. Those weren't mistakes. I did it on purpose because each one was a little bit different and each one came in different colored vinyl. And I just love the music from it.
So is that group? I understand they do the music for Cowboy Bebop, but do they do their own music as well?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I only know them from Cowboy Bebop. I also have the soundtrack to Samurai Champloo, and I will be watching The Kids on the Slope at Gio's recommendation, which is the auteur's take on, let's see. First was jazz. Next was like beatbox music. Have you watched Kids on the Slope?
No,
it's
I
by the
haven't.
same guy that did the first 2. It's his take, his riff on a different kind of genre of music.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I'm sure somebody will say it in the chat. Cycle Yelling, the 3rd and final volume of the new Charles Burns book comes out next week. I saw that. Speaking of canceled shows, did you watch Swamp Thing? I liked that show and I'm bummed it was canceled.
I was actually going to bring that up, Matthew, because it was
Okay.
canceled right before the first episode came out as well. And I was super stoked for it. I watched it anyways, and that was like all kinds of issues with that because originally it was going to be 13 episodes for the first season. Then they cut it down to 10 because of budget reasons. Because they didn't get some sort of tax break they're supposed to in North Carolina.
In North Carolina, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, and then so they cut it down to 10, and then they canceled it right before the first episode came out. So with all that said, I was like, it still looks cool. I'm going to watch it anyways. And even though all that stuff, it got shrunk down and canceled, I think it still had at least a satisfying ending. Like you could definitely continue on.
It yet.
But the last episode was at least satisfying enough to where I didn't feel like I was like robbed of anything. And it's amazing. It's like if you want like a horror series to watch, especially during spooky
Ooh.
season, I would definitely recommend Swamp Thing.
Okay, good.
It's really, really good.
I actually own it and the first season of Doom Patrol in the dusty case of DVDs that won't be watched. Much like my Akira box set, which you have in the back, sat on my floor with cobwebs and never got read.
I've been meaning to ask you, did you so you had the Akira box set, so you had some sort of interest in reading it. Did you know that the Dark Horse releases are left to right?
I don't know that I knew that. Is it in color too? Is that the big
No,
deal?
that was a Marvel thing for their Epic line back in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
But this box set was the first time it was ever released right to left in English. So the old editions from Dark Horse are like the thick phone book ones. Those are left to right. So if you have an interest in reading Akira, it's left to right. So I know that's usually your hang up with manga.
Yeah, I have trouble reading it. I got a lot of manga at that point and before trying to read it, and then I read it, tried to read some, and the stuff I got through didn't really hold my interest, and then it just became a whole thing of I can't really read it and it's not really interesting to me. So, and I don't need a whole nother thing, a whole nother genre to read. I can't even keep up with what I do collect. So the answer to your question is that I gave up before I even tried it.
That's
because
fair.
somebody offered me crazy money for it on eBay in 2018 or whatever. And I said, well, okay, I'm really not going to read this. So, and if you want it that badly, I'll sell it to you for whatever it was.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair.
Wait a sec. What? Cycle's yelling about something. You know what? I can't spend all this time on you, Cycle. 100% want to hear what T.O. read, not just 100% want to hear what T.O. read, not just negative reviews. T.O. Terrell Owens.
That's what I was gonna say.
T.O. Here's Zen Man. I think it was around 2019. A coworker of mine read the first 5 Omnis worth of One Piece and was hooked. It is a quick read if you are laser focused. Omnidog review of Cycle Box coming soon. It is. Kus is Latvian.
Okay. I said Swedish, but thank you for correcting me.
Okay. That's fine. We're back on when I was looking through the cycle pile. Sup, Omnidog? How you doing tonight? Nick, I'm doing good, and I think Taylor is too. Thank you for being here. The Porcelino story in Blammo 10.5 is dope AF. Okay.
Have you read any John Porcelino? He did a King Cat Comics.
No. You are far more versed in indie stuff than I am, I think.
Look at that. I have a John Porcelino on hand.
Wow. What? We're going to need to start giving you some books. And I mean, you've pulled everything so far. What is this?
So this is John Porcelino. This is Map of My Heart, which I think he has like a really like simplistic art style.
What kind of stories are there?
They're a combination of things. It's a lot of autobio stuff though.
I'm interested.
He does. Do I have the logo on here? But King Cat Comics is like his thing, and he releases this all in mini comics, and he's been doing it. Oh, there it is. I found a cover. This is like what example of a cover of one of the mini comics you'd order, and that's his logo there, King Cat, right there.
Oh, okay.
And he just sends them through the mail to you, and he's done like 85 issues so far. I think he's done a lot, but they've Drawn and Quarterly has published them in these like thick volumes too, collecting. Not everything. It's like a greatest hits kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But they're all I think there's like 4 or 5 of these that collect it all. So yeah, it's a really simplistic style. So some people might be turned off by that kind of art style.
I'm not turned off if it's a good story.
That's the thing, though. Yeah, the stories are great. So, unfortunately, I think this doesn't sell well if someone like picked it up at a bookstore and like flipped through it, just because you have to like really get into the story and then you like get invested.
Yeah. Okay, wait. I am gonna write that down as something to look at for Map of My Heart in the Freddie book that he gave me. Map of My Heart. I will actually take a chance on that. Map of My Heart.
Okay, this one collects the best of King Cat from 1996 to 2002. So this isn't the first one.
Do you have a lot of his stuff?
I have all of the collections from John and Quarterly. I think the first one's called King Cat Comics Classics with an X on the end.
Okay.
And then this Map of My Heart, or Map of the Heart, Map of My Heart.
Map of My Heart. Okay.
I don't have the other ones on hand, dang it. But there's like 4 or 5 of them.
That's okay. Hey, you pulled that one. I'm impressed with that one. And we haven't even got to the
I know, I'm just pulling
gems
out
yet.
these hidden gems, these bonus hidden gems.
Yeah, these are all bonus hidden gems.
Actually, I guess something really cool. Can I show it off?
Show off what?
This really cool thing I got today.
Yeah,
I
I insist.
I plugged this on very fine condition this morning, and I said I'm going to save it for Jess's show.
Yeah, baby.
So this guy I went to high school with made these, and I know you're an EC Comics fan, so you're going to enjoy this.
I will.
And he's like an incredible artist. I think he should be like in Hollywood doing like makeup and stuff for like horror comics and stuff, or horror movies and whatnot. But he made these. These are handmade.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. So he made
Whoa. Let's. Whoa.
Yeah, these are all there's the old witch.
Yeah. And it was the first one the Crypt Keeper?
Yep. And then here's the Vault Keeper.
Those are amazing.
Yeah, they're like handmade. They're made out of like latex rubber and like synthetic. I don't know. It's amazing.
Probably human hair.
Like
If
all the
it's DC
detail.
Comics, let's go with human hair.
Yeah. But I have all 3 of them now. And then
Where did you get those?
I got the old witch as a doll.
I don't think I'd want that in my house. That's cool though.
So it's the old witch.
How did you come across those?
Well, it's this guy I went to high school with.
Yeah.
And he started posting on Facebook that he was making. He has like a whole bunch of them. His Etsy shop, he sells them on Etsy. It's called Spooky Brucey.
Spooky Brucey?
Yeah, if you look up, it's Etsy.com. James Abel, you can put the link in the chat. Etsy.com/shop/spooky Brucey products. And Brucey is Brusey, like Bruce Y.
Okay.
But he has like all different characters of these dolls. Like he has like Frankenstein and Wolfbane and all kinds of things. But I just wanted the EC stuff because that's what I'm into.
Yeah. Those are amazing.
But yeah, these are like incredible. Like I can't believe the quality of these. And there's not a lot of EC like merchandise. These are unofficial, of course.
Right.
I know Dark Horse did like a bookends a couple years ago of the EC, which I really wanted those, but like I've been trying to put my studio together here, and I want like big things you can see in the background.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Because like action figures and stuff you can't really see on camera the best. So I wanted and these were perfect.
And can you wear those, or are they just for display more like?
Oh, I mean, I guess you could. I should have put this on when you had your Omnidog mask. This should have been my.
Does it come with like a thing that straps around your head, or
no? I guess you could put one on there. It is the size of my face, though. if you want the scale of how big these are.
Yeah, those are amazing.
I know. They're, like the quality, like it's one of those things. Like when you see it in person, you're like, "Holy crap!" But yeah, I want to show this off.
That's great. I highly encourage you to show off anything that's interesting, and that was interesting. Here's Hondo from the Bay Area. Hey, what's up, my dude? Got my copy of Monica to get signed by Dan Close when he's at this local bookstore this Tuesday. Who the frick are these people that are getting their copies of Monica?
I know he's doing a tour. But the closest place, and I'm kind of kicking myself, the closest place he came to me was he went to Crossroads Comics of Columbus, the CXC in Columbus, Ohio, and he even did a talk and everything, but I didn't go.
Where are you in Ohio?
No, I'm in Indiana.
Indiana. Okay.
Yeah. So it's about a 3 hours drive, but I don't know. I'm not gonna, it's probably my only time I'm ever going to get a chance to meet Dan Klaus, and I blew it, I guess. But
yeah, he was when he did the Hate Ball tour back in the 90s with P-Bag. It sort of came near here, but that's when I was full-time Mr. Momming, and I just could not get loose from. I think my wife was out of town the weekend, and I wasn't going to drag my daughter to Baltimore or whatever. But that really would have been cool, because that was a cool concept, the Hate Ball for both of those guys.
And the posters and stuff that came, I wish they'd release a T-shirt. Like, I'd totally buy a T-shirt, even like an old school, like the Hate Ball tour T-shirt.
Yeah, and the places they went on the back.
Yeah.
We should just make those up ourselves as unofficial merchandise.
Yeah, bootlegs. Let's do it.
Exactly.
I'm trying to see if I have one of the books handy that shows those off. Neat stuff.
Here's my Discord for those of you who want to get in. The Discord's really starting to pop these days. That's right. It really, really is. The Spine of Dead Boy Detectives looks pretty good. It was posted in the Facebook group this week. That's a big honker. It pains me that one experience put Jess off Fantagraphics. It really didn't. I'll still buy Fantagraphics books. I'm just not going to shell out the dosh necessarily for a signed edition.
Yeah.
I still like Fantagraphics books. If they put something out that I dig, I'm gonna really get it. Cowboy Bebop is best. I'm proud of you for watching the animated movie. The vinyl collection is very expensive. Well, I have 3 different ones because I'm insane like that.
It's probably out of print by now. Maybe that's what he means. Like on.
Yeah, they must be out of print. I felt like I almost had my. I'm working on getting my books organized, but what I really need to do is get my albums organized too. Well, I'm glad that you approve, Kane. Oh, and he says, Kids on the Slope is amazing. Good. The Seatbelts don't really have their own albums. They primarily work on Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
Guten Tag from Mr. Awesome in Pittsburgh.
Hello.
Pittsburgh Dust. What do you guys... Oh, okay. Here, we can answer this. What do you guys think the best closed books are? Are you asking us so you can argue with us, Cycle, or are you going to let us actually have our opinions?
Let me see. I mean, 8-Ball is a classic, but obviously has all this short serialized stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I have Ghost World. That's a
must read. Good.
I think my favorite though is like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron.
Yeah.
And I think what I love about it is that it's like surrealist horror, which is I think is my favorite kind of horror comics. Like Black Hole by Charles Burns. That's my all-time favorite horror comic. Like I love that. Comic.
Okay.
So like surrealist horror, I like because it's just like such a weird type of horror. But so I think I'd go with that.
Okay, that's fair.
Or Dan Pussy. If you want to pronounce it that way.
My favorite. Yeah.
That's
my favorite.
That one is amazing, especially if you understand the context of it, because he was commenting on things in the comic book industry, like almost before they were happening, like as they were happening, but almost before they're happening too. Like there's like characters in there that look exactly like Rob Liefeld before people made fun of Rob Liefeld. Like when Rob Liefeld was like the it guy in comics, and before people started making fun of him, Dan Klaus was making fun of him. Like that's an amazing I think that's probably one of the better gateway comics into Dan Klaus for someone that doesn't read a lot of like indie kind of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because it still has like kind of that ties to the comic book industry that people like. If someone like only reads like Big Two comics and you want to try a Dan Klaus book, I would recommend that one because it still has like that ties to the industry.
Right. And I love how he insists his name is pronounced Poussey.
Yeah.
He's always saying it's Poussey. That's my favorite. And I feel like that was serialized in 8 Ball, right?
It was, yeah. That and like a velvet glove cast in iron. Those are both serialized in the first 10 issues, I think.
Right. Okay.
And then Ghost World came after that because that was like issues like 11 through 18, I think.
Yeah. One of my favorite opening scenes of a movie ever is the opening scene of Ghost World.
Oh yeah.
I love that opening scene where it's people watching their TVs, just boring, boring, boring. And then you get to is it Enid, and she's dancing crazy to this Bollywood song, and I
Yeah.
got the soundtrack just so I could listen to that in my car, where she's going crazy dancing. I think it's Enid.
Yeah.
And she's going crazy dancing to that, and just so full of life in that opening shot. I love that.
Do you have this edition of Ghost World?
I don't. I think I just I have the box set
Well,
of
you have
8 Ball, and
yeah, it's an
so
8-ball. Well, I'm
yeah.
crazy and I buy all the separate collections as well.
Hey, you're not crazy. I don't blame you. I
Yeah,
think you should.
This is like the nice hardcover.
Yeah.
But it has it has a bunch of extra stuff in it. Like that's like the story, like those pages right there. And then this is all the extra stuff. And it includes like the entire script for the movie. It has like new artwork too. Like this is Dan Clowes behind the scenes of the movie, like making it.
Gosh, I don't have that.
Yeah.
It's probably out of print and $1,000 now.
It is out of print, but I found a copy for like $20 at a Half Price Books.
Nice.
Yeah. It has like behind the scenes stuff too of the movie and the comic.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Was that like Scarlett Johansson's first appearance or one of her earlier appearances?
It's one of her earlier movies. I don't think it's her first. But yeah, it's definitely before she got big.
And then Enid, I can't think of her name right now, but she went on to do American Beauty after that, right? Or was American Beauty before that?
I think it was after.
Yeah, because I think American Beauty, in my humble opinion, is a masterpiece. And I feel like her performance is remarkable, as is
Thora Birch.
Yeah. Yeah. She's awesome in American Beauty. And well, she's awesome in Ghost World too.
Well, I don't think that hold on. When did American Beauty come? Oh, 1999. So American Beauty was 2 years before Ghost World.
Oh, okay.
But you say your humble opinion, but I'm pretty sure that movie won some Oscars, so
oh,
it's not
okay,
just your
good.
opinion. I think American Beauty won like a bunch of Oscars, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I love that movie.
It is good.
Okay, I'm way behind. Cycle likes Patience, and we said what we like.
Oh, that's a
AC
good one.
Luda Swamp Thing show should be brought back by Gunn on TV. That's a good idea. Your Doom Patrol TV show is good. It's on like its 4th season, so I should sometime get going on it.
The last season's coming out soon.
And is that the 5th?
I think it's the 5th.
Okay.
It's really good. I mean, if you like, which I think you do, if you like Morrison's Doom Patrol, they borrow a lot from that. And they borrow actually, you know what, you will really like it because it borrows a lot from Morrison's, but it also has some references to the Silver Age Doom Patrol.
Yes,
because I remember favorite. I was actually, as I was watching the show for the first time, which was just a few months ago, like I haven't watched it. I went years without watching it. I was behind. I have the same problem as Jess when you're behind on TV. But I watched it, and I was watching it concurrently with reading Doom Patrol to my son at night because we read comics before bed.
How old's your son?
He's 8. He's actually turning 9 soon.
And you're reading him Doom Patrol? That's awesome.
Silver Age Doom Patrol, not the Morrison stuff. That's a little too mature, but
Silver Age is still pretty crazy.
I know. And I think that's what what gave me the idea to read it to him because it is really weird, which I think kids enjoy. Because I've tried to read a lot of Silver Age comics to him, like a lot of the Marvel stuff, and then one day I was like, let's just try Doom Patrol, and he got really into. We got halfway through the omnibus, and then we put it down for a little bit, but I mean, he read 500 pages with me, so
that's awesome. I think that's parenting done right.
I agree.
Good, awesome. Cycle. Cycle. You got a lot to say. I've actually yet to read anything between Patience and 8 Ball 18, but I'm correcting that now.
That
Always
surprises
been
me.
more of a Charles Burns guy. Okay, well, that's
Yeah.
great. Why don't you tell us your life story? Rick Ray. David Boring is my favorite closed book, but I also like Patience. My least favorite is probably Wilson. Okay.
I dig Wilson.
I told someone this the other day and they were baffled and said, I haven't even read his beat
Best
books.
books.
Did you mean best books? Okay. Okay. But, I'm. Should I get the original Ice Haven or the landscape version? I heard they are kind of significantly different. I have it in, I guess, landscape.
Yeah, mine's landscape, the hardcover.
Yeah.
I thought they
have
were
it
both
in-
landscape. I thought there's a yellow paperback and a blue hardcover.
I don't know.
The hardcover is great though, Cycle. That'd be my opinion. And I think you can find that pretty easily.
Rick says it reads better landscape, in my opinion. Reading it as a single issue in 8 Ball 22 was kind
Okay.
of weird. Okay.
I haven't read any 8 Ball after 18 because issues 19, 20, 21, and 22 and 23, I think it finished at 23. We're all like different. They're not in the box set. So they're all different like trim sizes and stuff. I have read Death Ray though, and that I think it's all of issue 23. I think was Death Ray.
Right.
But I have the
that.
hardcover. I don't have like the single issue.
I feel like I have Death Ray. It makes it hard to I'm trying to get some kind of stab at putting creators together. But it's hard when you've got like a couple landscape books and then a couple oversized and then standard size. But I would like to have all my clothes together.
Yeah.
Taylor, have you read Pittsburgh by Santoro?
I have not. I think I've had that book recommended to me before, maybe by you, but I have not read that.
Cycle, why should he read it?
Yeah, let me know. I'm assuming, I mean, you know my tastes.
I heard the Beguiling store in Toronto is awesome myself, and I was blown away by that store. Yeah, I bet you picked up a ton of books. That's apparently one of the best comic stores in the world.
I'd love to go to
that. Those masks remind me of an old Goosebumps episode.
Yeah, Goosebumps. I mean, R.L. Stine he was a crazy EC fan back in the day. So all of anything R.L. Stine's done has been heavily influenced by EC.
And there it is.
Look at that.
Brucey Products.
I knew he'd get it.
Super producer James Abel. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, James. They look like my principal from elementary school, except she had brown hair. Ugh.
I don't know if that's the most.
Taylor wins, make him full-time. I didn't even go. I even reserved tickets to his talk, LOL. What are we talking about?
The Dan Klaus talk at CXC.
Oh, okay.
Which Cycle, I reserved tickets as well, but you have even less of an excuse than I do because it was in Cleveland. Or no, it was in Columbus, but that's probably closer to Cleveland than I am.
Isn't Columbus about 2.5 hours away from Cleveland? So he's slightly closer. Yeah.
Still closer.
Columbus is in the south part, right? And Cleveland's up near the lake.
Oh, okay.
The Cowboy Bebop vinyl is up for pre-order. Yeah. I said that.
Oh, that's the expensive one he's talking about.
Oh, that's it. Okay. You're a lady. I apologize. Good. I'm trying to get more women involved. That's great. But I have no way of knowing. I just found out True Graphic Novel 1989 is also a lady. So props to the ladies out there who read comics, because I want all people and especially women to read comics. I could never get my daughter into it, but I'll get other women into it. Black Hole, Taylor, okay, Black Cycle, okay, now I can catch up because Cycle and Rick Ray are talking to each other. Okay. Taylor, you're from Indiana. When you ask what is the best clown?
You're supposed to say Red Skeleton.
Okay. Is that an Indiana joke?
Red Skeleton, I think, is from Indiana.
Oh, okay.
So is
I love that's a deep pull because I loved Red Skelton, but I mean, that was back in the black and white days, I think, that I watched him on TV.
I had a theater teacher show him to us in freshman year.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
What'd you think of him?
No, I liked him. He has a lot of physical comedy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, did he do like a skit with playing tennis? I remember a tennis sketch with Red Skelton. Is that
I don't remember that specific sketch, but I know he loved to tell jokes, and he had a very rubbery face that he, when he did Clem Cadiddlehopper and stuff. So I think that was his clown sort of Clem Cadiddlehopper.
Yeah.
I
mean, it was so long ago that I watched him.
Yeah, I haven't seen him or Jackie Gleason, I think, in 25 years, really.
I mean, the famous Hoosier I always cite is David Letterman.
What was the first part?
David Letterman. He's the Hoosier person from Indiana,
right?
That I always cite as like being famous.
I don't know what Living the Line is, but I was watching a Living the Line episode with Brandon Graham, and all three of them were also not big on Chris Ware. Clothes, I can somewhat understand, but Ware is pure genius. I don't know what Living the Line is. Do you have Chris Ware there you can pull?
I bet you I do, actually.
Okay.
Give me just a second. I have a whole stack.
Oh, whoa. Thor Birch, thank you. The comic. Oh, we can actually hear crickets.
Oh, I know that. I'm trying to take care of it. I have a cricket problem in this house.
No, that's cool. I liked it when we had dead air that there was actual crickets. That's cool.
Dang it! Where did they go?
That's all right. The Monica review rivals the Comics Journal Keeping 2 review. Comics Journal review is legendarily bad. Okay. I excited to hate watch that Living the Line review. I don't know what that is.
They're a YouTube channel, but they're also a publisher.
What is it? Living the Line? The Line.
They're a small publisher, but it's Carson Grubaugh, and I always forget the other guy's name. But they did the first book that they did as a publisher, and Carson Grubaugh did part of the artwork for, was that Dave Sim book, The Strange Lives and Death of Alex Raymond. Does that sound familiar to you?
I know who Alex Raymond is, but I don't know that book.
It just came out a couple years ago. It was about all the craziness around the idea of Alex Raymond's death and the myth behind it and stuff. Dave Sim started it. Dave Sim of like Cerebus fame.
Yeah.
But he couldn't finish it because I think he had like wrist or hand problems, I think. So Carson Grubaugh picked it up and finished it, and then they published it. Living the Line also did that it came out a couple of months ago, the first ever completely AI comic.
Ew.
Right. There's a whole discussion we can have about that. But so they did that, and then they also did their next release though is Moonray by Brandon Graham. So
oh, okay. I like Brandon Graham. I liked his Prophet. Prophet from Image. He gave it a really different spin. I really enjoyed that. I read King City and I thought it was good, but I also didn't think I was ever going to reread it again. So I think
really? I love
sold it, but I think I think he's quite talented, but I don't know anything about him personally. Okay, let's see. No, I'm not gonna quote that one. Ice Haven originally was April 22. Okay. That Cowboy Bebop soundtrack is the one that's coming out in December. Amazon has it at $428.98. No, just relax. That's gonna be the one that has Charles, don't sign up for that one. I think it may be a double album because it has all the music they haven't been able to put out before, but I would think under $50 is probably, I mean, for a double album, I would think if it's a double album, I would think like $39.99 would be what I would expect to pay. Yeah, no, don't pre-order at that price. Her death rate is fantastic. Is there anybody in the chat besides Cycle tonight?
And Rick Ray.
Well, Rick Ray's fine. But it's mostly Cycle just yelling. I see that there's a few people, but nobody's talking. My first wait, James stumped everyone. What did James stump everyone on? James. I'm going way back. Oh, the Red Skeleton one. Okay. My first comic was Witchblade. I was hooked.
Oh,
That I regret not picking up right away in hardcover format because now it's out of print, and that's a book that I actually really want to read. I know the art's fantastic, but the premise sounds interesting to me also. Red Skeleton is from my town. We even have a Red Skeleton Museum of American Comedy here.
ooh, that's fun.
There's a Red Skeleton tennis thing. Yeah, it's on YouTube if you want.
Okay.
I hear crickets. Living the Line kind of operates like cartoonist kayfabe, but they also publish comics.
They do. Yeah. Cartoonist Kayfabe's great. I love that channel.
Is that a podcast or is it also on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. It's Ed Piskor and Jim Rugg. And sometimes Tom Scioli jumps in sometimes, but
okay.
They obviously promote their own stuff, but like every day they put out content and they're always reviewing like old comics they love. So
okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
They had a huge booth at Heroes Con that I didn't get to. I hear crickets too. They are still around me this year. This is the first time. Oh yeah, we have tons of crickets, and my wife hates crickets. So it's always a battle for me. When they get inside, I like to scoop them up in a tennis ball can and just throw them out into the wild because you can't really. It's hard to kill them, and I don't want to kill a cricket. It's like, I don't know. It's bigger than a spider, so. But she gets freaked out by them because they're so unpredictable. So if she hears anything cricket-like in this house, it's DEFCON 4 immediately. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll come take care of it.
Yeah, we just moved in and I'm in the basement and I've been trying to get rid of these crickets. So I've got some bait traps set up and stuff, but it's an ongoing problem.
It is. Oh, Guzzbuzz chirps in. Keep AI out of my comics. I agree. Okay. I swear. Okay. AS have been listening to podcast Bat Lessons, Batman history since I got Batman Golden Age Omni Volume 1. Excellent. Bat Lessons. Okay. I'm here. I can yell if you prefer. No, I'm just interested. Maybe we should start. I'm getting close to caught up. Maybe we should start on our first hidden gem.
We should.
Oh, and that's why I have my iPad. Okay, good.
Do you want to go first or me?
No, you're my guest. Okay. You go first.
So the first one I have is an older comic. Have you ever read this?
No.
You've never read Brat Pack?
I don't think so. It looks ginormous.
It's a little bit oversized. It's a hardcover by Rick Veitch. You know Rick Veitch?
I do.
Okay. I'm surprised you haven't read this. This is like your era of going to the comic book shop on a weekly basis.
Brat Pack. Gosh, it doesn't sound familiar. Watch, I probably have the book, but
you might.
It doesn't look familiar to me. What's somebody shaving their leg there?
It's a guy that looks a lot like Robin, shaving his leg. He's got the mask there. So, just a warning.
That's funny already.
Right. Anybody that reads this, which I recommend everybody read this, you'll never be able to read any comic books with sidekicks the same ever again, especially Batman comics. So this is showing you all of the horror and terrible things about sidekicks and the actual possibility. Like if you actually thought about like, what is Batman doing by having a 9 or 10-year-old fighting crime with him and literally putting these kids in danger in the middle of the night, fighting these people. This is all about that. So Brat Pack is a group of sidekicks from all these different heroes, which you have like your Batman type hero, like your Captain America type hero, and these are their sidekicks, and they just show how like expendable they are, how they purposely throw them out into danger before they like as kind of like the first line of defense before the bad guys get to them. Some of the sidekicks have to like pump steroids and things to keep up the appearances. Like this guy's obviously shaving his leg, like Robin's always shaving his leg to fit into his tights and whatnot. So it's all in black and white, but Rick Veitch's artwork is really incredible. He did some artwork on Alan Moore's Swamp Thing, which
Right.
where he got his, and then he took over Swamp Thing after Alan Moore.
Right. Yeah.
And he also has a comic called The One. Did you ever read that one?
The One. No, I have. I do have his Swamp Thing up until they took him off the book, and then I have something by him. I feel like it's in the Tom Strong universe that he did, but I can't picture what it is.
Yeah, he did do something there. I forget.
What year did this book come out about?
So the original issues came out 1991, it says.
Oh, okay.
And this book itself, the hardcover, came out. This is from IDW, which they don't have the publishing rights anymore, so this is out of print. But Rick Veitch has been self-publishing his stuff on Amazon. They do like a print-to-order type deal.
Oh.
So and he re-released Brat Pack. I think it's a paperback. But on Amazon, all of his stuff is on Amazon. Like he's been putting out continuously comics since then on Amazon, and there's like a print-to-order type deal. So Brat Pack is amazing, especially if you like deconstruction of superheroes.
Yeah,
you want to see like the darker side of what the world would actually look like if they had sidekicks. Because I love Batman and Robin as much as the next guy, but
yeah,
if you really think about it, like what the hell is this guy doing by having this? Because in the early Batman comics, I think Robin is like 9 years old. They say 9. He's my son's age. So I can't imagine a grown man taking him out to fight crime at night. Like that's just. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. But it's really amazing. Like like I said, you'll never read a superhero comic the same after that because it'll make you think twice about sidekicks and whatnot.
Maybe I shouldn't read it.
I think it is on Hoopla. Maybe you should check Hoopla.
Oh,
maybe on that.
I can check because one of the first book I'm going to recommend, I realized that I have the first book on Hoopla. I never picked up the physical volume, and I only have volume 2, so I need to go back because I love it so much. I need to get volume 1. But I can look up. I can look it up once I'm done talking about it.
While you look it up, though,
interesting.
Yeah, it is really interesting. While you look it up, Rick Veitch, though, he was on the aforementioned Cartoonist Kayfabe doing an interview, and he mentioned the idea of a Swamp Thing omnibus of his run. Because the controversy with his run, like you said, they took him off the book.
Yeah,
because he's going to have an issue where I think his Swamp Thing was going to meet Jesus.
Yeah,
what's the controversy? But they said no, so then he left. He has a very like punk rock creator owned ethos to him, the way he operates in comics, which is cool. So it's kind of like, you won't let me do my story, I'm going to leave and do my own comics wherever I want, which is what he did. But he mentioned, though, on the Cartoonist Kayfabe that DC approached him about doing an omnibus, and he said he will participate in it, and he would love it if they'll let him finish that issue. So he said he'll still do it. He's still putting out comics. He said, I'll make the issue now. You can plug it into the omnibus. It's like a special thing. I was like, that sounds like the coolest idea ever. DC, please do that. But this is like 3 years ago. I don't know if that's still up in the air or not. But
that's like 5 management changes ago,
right? But just the fact that he's willing to do that issue, like, how many omnibuses do we have with an exclusive single issue that was never been released before?
And is super controversial,
right,
and super famous for not being published.
Like that alone,
everybody wants to see it.
Right. That alone would make the omnibus like a kind of a sought after item, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I would. Now you put that out there. Well, maybe you put that out there in the universe, but it was already out there. But now it's in Omnidog's universe. So now,
yes,
we can get some.
It was like this little tip. I try to tell everyone I hear, like anyone that brings up Rick Veitch's Swamp Thing, I always tell them because I want it to be out, and I wanted anyone to see it. I hope that one time maybe a DC person's watching this video. But it was like this little tidbit of this interview they did, because Cartoonist Kayfabe, they're not like omnibus collectors or anything. obviously we are. And I this is a small little tidbit where he just like kind of said it in passing out, but it was like the biggest thing to me. I was like, that's like the
Yeah.
biggest part of this interview. So I try to shout it to the heavens anytime someone, maybe shout it to the heavens isn't the right thing to say in regards to that issue, but anytime someone brings up Veach's Swamp Thing, I try to bring that up because it was at least talked about at DC at one point.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing to see. Okay, let's see. Charles Wilson, yes, don't buy that LP. Uh-oh. Cartoonist kayfabe is not somebody that Cycle likes. I would chime in more, but unfortunately, I haven't read any of the books you guys have been talking about. Well, as long as you're out there, Chris, that's good. J of W, welcome. ×2 today. I've heard to enjoy homework from kayfabe. Oh, Jess, I just got Witchblade HC from Cheap Graphics 3 from in stock this week. You did what now? It's in at what? Thank you, Rising.
Oh,
I thought they were OOP.
I thought they were too.
Well, holy guacamole. Oh, that's why I didn't see Josh, because I didn't really want to go over to kayfabe because it always had a big crowd around it, and I didn't run into Josh, and he's held it against me ever since. Oh, here's Noir Wolf. Justin Taylor, I read the first issues of Tom King's Wonder Woman and Kelly Thompson's Bird of Prey tonight, and both were great reads. As a matter of fact, I picked up those floppies 2 weeks ago from Third Eye Comics because Trish recommended both of those to me. She said, and I picked up the covers that had Art Germ on them, and they were awesome. So those should be in a floppy box that's easily accessible, Noir Wolf. So I will try and read those because Trish also said those were awesome. And I would expect nothing less from either of those writers. And I just want nothing but a 50 or 60 issue run for Kelly Thompson. Let her just go crazy with Birds of Prey. I really want success for her.
That'd be awesome.
Let's see these hidden gems. Okay.
We finally got to it.
Yeah. Wait, N-Man says, I found the Mountain Dew Voodoo 5 today at ShopRite. I know we talk about the monster cereals, but have you tried any of the Mountain Dew Voodoos? I have. I'll be honest with you, N-Man 40. Ever since the Omni Bros episode in 2018, I think, when I almost went to the ER from doing a Dew Bomb with Riley, a Dew Bomb is like Mountain Dew with a shot of energy drink dropped in it. And it got my heart racing so fast. I thought it was gonna burst out of my chest. So the only time I have Mountain Dew is the once a year I go to Taco Bell, and that's no hit on Taco Bell. I love Taco Bell, but it's like everything I shouldn't eat. So
yeah,
I have not tried the Voodoos, but I'm glad you dig it. Taylor, get a tarantula. Cricket problem solved.
That's an idea.
That, as a matter of fact, I had my roommate in college, my senior year, had a tarantula as our pet in our apartment.
Oh.
And he would get crickets to feed it. And they're very fragile. You can, if you like are holding a tarantula and you drop it, it will likely die. They're very fragile. So he knew I was scared of it, and that was an odd thing for somebody to have in their apartment.
Yeah,
as on in the family room area, this big terrarium of Thor. That was his name. But he knew if he ever messed with me, I would just swat it away and kill it. So he never messed with me. But yeah, tarantulas like crickets.
And they're fragile. I didn't know, because in Home Alone, his brother has. Have you seen Home Alone?
I have, but I only saw it once, and it was a long time ago. I just remember the scene in Indiana Jones where they have tarantulas on their back or whatever.
Well, his older brother has a pet tarantula, and that's one of the traps that he sets for the bad guys. But they must have, obviously it's a fake tarantula probably, but they were like dropping it from all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, no. If you drop, If you're
The movie
holding
was
it and you
fake.
drop it to the ground, it'll likely kill it. That's what he was always afraid of. He said they were really fragile. My first hidden gem is put out by Image. And let's see, I have both issues here. Notably, I've promoted it before, but I don't think enough people know about it. And that is Sonata, Volume 1, Valley of the Gods. This is about, have you heard of this?
No, I haven't.
Don't you watch my channel?
Well, who's the creative team?
Nobody you know.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. Who is the creative team? David Hine and Brian Haberlin, and the art's by Brian Haberlin, and the art and the colors are by Gerald Van Dyke. The art's amazing. And let me highlight myself just so I can get you guys to see. So the art starts out and it's just shockingly great. And it's about a planet where a peaceful race has gone. They've used up their planet, and so they have immigrated to this other planet. Here's the warlike race. They've also immigrated to this planet. And the peaceful race has learned how to ride the local pterosaurs that fly. So they use those for transport. And the issue is that the warlike race that has also started a civilization on this planet just wants to crush and kill these other people who are peaceful, but they also have great technology. And they also have this is one of the living gods. There's a valley of death, I think they call it, and they're called sleeping giants, and they're considered the gods that have created the planet. And they're all asleep in this valley, and you never want to go through this valley because if you wake them up, there could be mayhem. There's also a race of people. Here's some more of the great art. And there she is flying on it. There's also this race of people who are native to the planet, and they work with the peaceful people to keep them safe. It's like a mutual relationship where they keep each other safe. So there's issues that happen, and then the daughter and of the head of the peaceful people and the son of the warlike people end up kind of falling in love with each other, and they find an underground cavern that holds, God, look at this art. This is them breaking the dam because the warlike people built a dam to keep all the water for themselves, so they blew it up. The peaceful people did. But they fall into a cavern, the boy and the girl and the indigenous persona, this giant cavern. And it's so great. The cavern has the cavern has there is an opening that shows up when she puts on this bracelet. This opening shows up and it transports them like thousands of miles away. And it turns out that the indigenous people actually are guarding a secret about the technology they have that they don't use, but it's super advanced. And they are under penalty of death. The indigenous people are not supposed to share the technology or their knowledge of it with other people. This leads to many misunderstandings, many things happening, and including the indigenous guy telling the boy and the girl, woman and the man, you have to keep this a secret or I'm going to kill you. I have to kill you. I'm under orders to kill you. And of course, the secret gets out and it changes the dynamic between the peaceful and the warlike people. And it's so great because the giants in the valley end up waking up. And I don't want to tell you more than that, but yeah, the gods are real. And they run into all kinds of interesting characters along their journey. They have to make their way back. The search party is sent out for them because all of a sudden they disappear. And it then goes into book 2, which is just as good as book 1. And it's just a great story of there's huge character development in the man and the woman, and in the warlike people not so much, but the peaceful people and their indigenous allies also undergo sort of crises that they need to adapt to, because the indigenous people have to face the fact that not only are they dealing with this warlike tribe, but they get news that the home planet of the warlike tribe is on their way there to like take over that planet. So now, and the warlike people don't care for, I'm not telling this right, but the warlike people don't care for because the rebels won, and it turns out the rebels are worse than the government they toppled, and that's not good news for the warlike people. And so it's full of all kinds of really boss technology and character development between the man and the woman, and you have to adapt. And can the peaceful people coexist with the warlike people now that they know more on their way? And what's going on with those living gods anyway? Are they going to be awakened and wreak havoc, or what's happening here? So I love Sonata, and it needs to be read by more people. It's by Image. It's still in stock at all places. I don't think Organic Price Books carries trade paperbacks necessarily, but I know it's at IST still, and I still need to get the first volume. But it's really boss, highest recommendation possible, because it's science fiction and fantasy with the creative writing of the indigenous people and the secrets and the living gods and the mind reading and the who and the ha and everything and the he cats and she cats. It's really awesome. I love that book.
So does it conclude with that second volume, or is it?
Yes.
Okay.
It's 2 and done.
It reminds me of a little bit of like Dune, maybe.
I don't know the story of Dune, but maybe it's a good comparison. I don't know.
But definitely putting it down on my list, though. Really
yeah,
awesome.
I think that you would dig it a lot. Oh, Gray Shirt. That was it.
Yes.
How do you say his name? Veach.
Yeah.
Did Gray Shirt an homage to Will Eisner's The Spirit with Alan Moore? That's what he did. Right.
Yeah.
Is adamant to keep his own rights. Yeah, he got screwed over. Charles, I got the 3 Weech Blade ACs from the Kickstarter. I think you might get them when they put out volume 4.
Oh.
I will look into that, but I'm also going to look at cheap graphic novels.
They might have like add-ons for the previous volumes. Like whenever they do the Kickstarter for volume 4, you might be able to buy all 4 of them at once.
Yeah. Okay. Swamp Thing number 84 is essential reading for any Sandman fan. Deep cut, but I love it. Veach's Swamp Thing run is fantastic. Okay, more KFAB. Natural Bridge, I haven't heard from you in a while. How are you doing, buddy? Still talking about. Here's Jaggernaut. Good to see you,
Hey,
Jag.
how you doing?
Jess, are you a fan of alt comic creators like Dan Close or Charles Burns? We just talked about them, as a
Yeah.
matter of fact, Natural Bridge. I am a big fan of Dan Close and Charles Burns. Charles Burns, I'm probably, I don't know. I like them equally, I think. I think I look forward more to new releases from Dan Close if I have to choose.
Yeah, and he has a bigger output, I think, too. Like
Yeah,
Charles Burns, his stuff's really kind of sparse whenever he puts it out, but
right.
he has a new Fantagraphics book coming out in the spring, but it's like more of an art book because it's all different like movie posters, I think. Or no,
Charles Burns.
Yeah, Charles Burns. It's comic book covers. I'm sorry, like of fake comics, but they're like him just doing all these different covers of different genres.
Oh, okay. I haven't read this yet. I think it's a one shot by Leah Williams.
Oh yeah.
I did get the Art Germ issue, but it's still at Third Eye Comics. So I'm sorry, Mike. I can't give you an answer on that yet. I'm looking forward to reading it, though, because I love Power Girl. Jaggernaut has a question. Have you read Fear Agent?
Yes, I have.
I also have read Fear Agent.
What, did you?
Go ahead.
I was trying to remember your opinion on it.
I loved it.
Okay. Yeah, that's my favorite Reminder series. I think my favorite Reminder series are when he's tapping into his love of old pulp genres and like EC comics and stuff, and like Fear Agent's right out of like the sci-fi of that era, but with like modern sensibilities as far as like the character goes and the character development. I love Fear Agent. I needed to put that on display. I have a print by Jack Davis of him doing Heath from Fear Agent, and it's like a 1 of 100 art print that he did. Like
what?
Yeah,
how'd you get that?
Well, it was put up, and I bought it after posthumously after Jack Davis passed away. But he signed it, so it's got his actual autograph on it, but it's a print, and it was from the CBLDF, the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund.
Right.
It was on their website for like $20, I think, maybe $50. I can't remember what the price was.
I didn't even know Jack Davis did a Heath Houston.
Yeah, he must have done it right before he passed.
Wow.
I need to put it on display because it's a really cool piece. Because Jack Davis is my favorite EC artist, and I love Fear Agent, and just the fact that he was doing that, and then the added caveat that it's for the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund, which was kind of created because of what happened to the guys from EC with like the Frederick Wortham nonsense. So it's just a really cool piece because it's got a lot of story to it.
But, yeah. You have to have that on display. That's brilliant.
I have it somewhere. It's safe, but I just need to find it.
Yeah. So yeah, Jaggernaut. I 100% recommend picking up the OHCs. This is a me issue. Sometimes I have, because I'm an alcoholic, sometimes when there's a lot of alcohol involved, it doesn't make me cringe, but I kind of go, but it's part of life, and it's the guy's an alcoholic, and so he's constantly smashed, and they show him drinking a lot, but that's a me issue, and it shouldn't bother me, but it still kind of does, and I'm around people that drink all the time, so it's not a big deal, and I'm not saying it as a warning, because it's part of the story. So I personally think it's a must buy, must read. And you may be right in your opinion that it's his best work. That was the first thing I think. No, I think Uncanny X-Force was the first thing I ever read by him. But that's the first independent kind of thing that I read, and that's amazing. That's an amazing book.
It is.
Mega Shrimpser, random question. When do you think post-crisis Superman jumped the shark? Mullet Superman, Electric Superman, or later?
I'd say Electric Superman.
Yeah, I'll agree on that, except that I feel like he came back and got better. As far as reading goes.
Oh yeah, there's stuff after that that's great.
Yeah. But yeah, Electric Superman, I kind of have it just to be a completist, and I'm not nearly complete on everything Superman. And it would be nice if they actually put out post-crisis omnis of all
Yeah,
his stuff, besides Death and Return of Superman.
in the
Uh,
Exile.
yeah, in Exile. They have so much they could do, but that I'm just screaming into the void at this point.
We all agree with you, though.
Yeah, there's um okay. Every year the Voodoos have a mystery flavor and they are clear white colored. Pretty fun, I think. Okay. Jess, what are your thoughts about John Byrne depowering Superman? I think it's a repulsive sight to see Supes with an oxygen mask in deep space. Repulsive. That's a strong opinion.
Yeah.
I liked Man of Steel. I I have all my original copies that I bought from Very Fine Condition. That was my first interaction with Very Fine Condition, and
Oh.
that's where he taught me to negotiate. I tried to pay him full price, and he said, "No, you're always supposed to negotiate. I have to teach you this." I'm like, "Didn't I just offer you $100 for the whole set?" And he's like, "Yeah, but that's not how you do it." So that was her very first interaction. Um, I I don't mind that kind of stuff because I feel like it keeps Superman fresh to redo him. You, I like all the different takes on Superman because I think personally, for me, I think it would get boring if you just kept the same Superman. I I'm on board for anything interesting done to Superman. But if you think it's repulsive, then you shouldn't read it, right? I
If
mean,
you
you
want to
should
get
stay away from it.
if you want to get super nerdy and technical, like his Golden Age appearances, he didn't have all the powers that he does now. Like those early appearances where he couldn't quite fly yet and stuff. Like,
Right. In the early appearances, he had some powers that they forgot about like
yeah,
2 issues later. He used to be able to mush his face
yeah,
around and impersonate people.
which is how
Um,
they said like this is how nobody recognizes Clark Kent. It's
right.
not just the glasses.
And the curl that
Yeah,
Superman has. Um, I had a pet tarantula from that's a long time. She ate a lot of crickets in her time. 13 years.
I didn't know
Wow.
they lived that long.
It's a shame they hid my comment. Jess probably wouldn't even want me to type it here. Oh, who hid your comment?
Maybe it's about
Kayfabe? Are you guys still talking about kayfabe? I always viewed Clark as the disguise. How do you view it, Jess? Bill Tarantino was completely spot on about him and Kill Bill. Oh, I see what you're saying.
oh,
Um, yeah, that was a really good movie, and I'm trying to think of. I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't really remember what he was saying, but I do remember being kind of excited that he was talking about him. But that is a good movie.
people say the same thing about Batman. Like Bruce Wayne is the disguise.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Batman
the
2 really
Batman,
is.
yeah, right. I can see that, but I feel like I, yeah, I feel that way about Batman.
I feel like
That
there's
Bruce
like
Wayne is the disguise, yeah.
right, but there's two different sides of Bruce Wayne. You too, like there's like the playboy billionaire, but then there's the real Bruce Wayne that people get to know. Like I love the Nolan trilogy, and I think they depicted that perfectly, where you see all three sides. You see the playboy, millionaire, billionaire, whatever. Then you see the true Bruce Wayne, where he's like talking to people that are close to him, and then you see him as Batman.
Yeah. I also kind of the opposite of that in the Pattinson's Batman. I liked how Bruce was just as moody as Batman.
Yeah,
To me, that made it even more believable because um, I think it would be hard for somebody that's so driven and so despondent um, to switch faces at the drop of a hat. So I felt like Pattinson played him really well, where Bruce is as moody and despondent as well. I don't know if Batman's despondent, but he's moody and dark. He's just got one personality, And to me, that I don't know if relatable is the right word. You can relate to Bruce Wayne, but it made him kind of more believable. And I love that Pattinson Batman. That's something I need to see again. I think Electric Superman was a fun little diversion. Yeah, I kept it. So a really hidden gem, the New Statesman by John Smith and Sean Phillips and others. What is that? Do you
I
know
don't
what
know.
that is?
I don't.
The New Statesman by John Smith. That sounds like a fake name. And Sean Phillips and others. John Smith.
That's got to be an older comic because Sean Phillips. When's the last time he's done anything that wasn't with Brubaker?
I don't know. And
It's got to be
others.
a long time.
I'm just kind of fixated on John Smith. Did his parents really just not put any thought into it? Whatever. Yeah, we're just gonna call him John, and let him be one of 800 in the phone book back when phone books.
That's funny.
Recommended spooky Halloween reads. Thanks. Well, James, super producer, can go back. I probably have 5 of those for each year where I do Spooktober reads. I know the minister and I have put out Spooktober reads. One of my books that I can show next actually has to do with Halloween, but it's not really spooky. It's a love story.
Ooh.
Spooky reads. Actually, one of my books could qualify as spooky. That I can show. Let's see. Offhand, Sheltered. No, wait. Severed by Scott Snyder. Boy, it's hard for me. Severed is very creepy by Scott Snyder. Witches, I think, is creepy. I'm sorry that it's been almost 10 years and there hasn't been a follow-up to it. I think Scott Snyder does horror really well. Do you have any spooky books that I can also recommend the new Treehouse of Horror by The Simpsons.
Yeah.
It's not spooky, but it is funny as heck.
Those
1
books,
and 2 are very funny.
I'm so glad that Marvel let Comics Abram Arts put those out too, because if we got this from Marvel, they'd have been like your normal omnibus, which is fine, because they have the rights to those. They can publish those. But these Abrams art books, like the slipcases, are amazing books. But I've been a big fan of those. Those are actually some. What's that?
The glow in the dark covers. They're really cool.
Yeah. I've actually been a fan of those. I have the old paperbacks of the Treehouse of Horror, and that was one of my. That was always one of my hidden gems, but now it's not quite a hidden gem because these slipcases are out. But yeah, those are amazing. Like the art, like the creators that are involved in those. There's so many big names. Plus, like all the stories kind of read like old EC comics, but like Simpson style.
Yeah.
Black Hole, I mentioned that from Charles Burns. That's always my kind of my deeper cut for horror comics that I don't think enough people have read. Oh, here's a good one. Sullivan Sluggers. Have you read this?
Oh, I have that, but I haven't read it. Riley's recommended that to me about 1 billion times. I have that exact edition.
Yeah. This is by James Stocco.
Yeah.
Did your edition come up with these cool baseball trading cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a Kickstarter, wasn't it?
I think it was, but I found mine at Half Price Books.
What a great find.
I know. Even came with an art print too. So all the Kickstarter stuff was involved, like in there too, even though I bought it secondhand.
Whoa.
But James Stocco, his artwork is just like super incredibly detailed.
Oh yeah.
But this book is amazing. It's about a minor league baseball team going and playing one of their baseball games, and they encounter all these giant, like Lovecraftian monsters, like kaiju monsters, aliens. Like, it's so much fun. Like just seeing this, like, because they're a minor league baseball team, so they don't really care a bunch. Like they're smoking and drinking on, in the dugout, not putting in their best effort maybe, but going town to town to play their games.
Yeah.
And they encounter all these monsters and they have to fight them. So it kind of reminds me, like the premise kind of reminded me of like The Warriors, the movie with the baseball gang.
Oh yeah.
But fighting giant monsters.
That's
So,
a
yeah,
good recommendation.
there's the one that I had within reach.
I liked James Stokoe's Aliens book.
Yes,
And I like it.
actually, that's one of our first interactions. Was you selling me that book, or not selling me? I keep saying that. Not selling me. You just had me pay shipping because this was like I think IST gave this to you for like a.
I think they just gave it to us as a book.
Yeah, like a review copy. This book is amazing though. That's actually good. Another good horror comics. I love Aliens comics. They're awesome horror comics. But this is my favorite Aliens story. Is the one by James Stokoe. I think it's like his super detailed artwork really fits in the theme of like the claustrophobia of Aliens, which I think is one of the great horrors of that series. Is like you're in space, you can't go anywhere, and these giant aliens are attacking you. I think Marvel has only printed this in the Omnibus Volume 4 so far. It'll be in their Epic collections one day. This is super out of print though. This is like library edition sized.
Yeah.
Which is the that's the smallest James Stokoe comics should come in.
Agreed.
Because it's so super detailed that you need to see that artwork.
His Godzilla book is good too.
Oh yeah, Half Century War.
Yeah.
Which I guess that counts. That's like a monster book, right?
Yeah. I should have more. Well, I didn't do a horror Spooktober thing this year because I thought everybody's going to do that. But now here we have Jaggernaut asking for recommendations. And I'm like, oh, I could have had a video that you could refer to. But
I'm sure James can find some of your older ones. That he can,
I'm sure once I get down to the bottom, they're probably already there.
Yeah.
Cycle agrees. Fear Agent is dope. Just the Dune graphic novels, Brian Herbert do a nice job of adapting the original book. Story and art are great, in my opinion. I know nothing about Dune, so maybe that's a good way for me to get into it is by getting the graphic novels.
You didn't see the new movie?
I did not. Should I?
Yeah, I think it's good. Have you ever seen the Alejandro Jodorowsky, the guy that did the Incal? Have you seen the documentary about his version of Dune?
I've heard a lot about it. I think Lou is the one that's always telling me about it, and apparently it would have just been amazing if they had let him go through with it.
It was going to cost like outrageous money. He wanted it to be like a 10-hour movie released in theaters, like as a 10-hour movie. Like he didn't want to put it in the parts. It was going to have like Salvador Dali was going to be a character, and he was charging like something like $1 million a minute of film that he was going to be on. Pink Floyd was going to do the music for it. Like it was just this crazy, like it was almost like separated. It was almost like a totally different version of Dune. Like it was like he like took the book of Dune and then made it into this whole different thing. The documentary is amazing though, and the coolest thing, which I hope one day in my lifetime this gets released, was that they have a whole like Bible of the book of the movie with like storyboards and art design and stuff. And there's like 5 copies that exist in the world of this. They showed off in the documentary, but I wish that they would I want to see like a facsimile edition by like Taschen put out of this book.
Yeah,
because it has storyboards with Mobius artwork because he was the storyboard artist.
Oh yeah.
H.R. Geiger is the one that did all the character designs.
Oh my gosh!
Went on to do like alien characters for like aliens and stuff. So it has like H.R. Geiger and Mobius artwork. Like, I hope that book comes out one day. I don't know if it ever would, but that documentary is amazing, though.
Yeah, that's on my list of things I really need to see.
Yeah, and then since Jodorowsky worked with Mobius on Dune, they went on to make Incal, which took a lot from what they were going to do with Dune.
Okay.
And Meta Barons and stuff like that pulls a lot from what he was going to do with Dune.
Cool. And man says Fear Agent was great. Me from around 8 years ago would say so. I need to read it again. El Borba, I remember that by Charles Burns is my definite favorite.
Yes. That's super out of print too.
Yeah, I remember reading that. Gosh, where did I read that? I felt like it was serialized somewhere in like City Paper or something. You're welcome, Jaggernaut. I hope it helps. Okay. Superman post-crisis is great to me. Superman has the mask because he was in deep space for a long time. That's the oxygen. Welcome, Planet 628. It's getting late for Kane, so I'm heading out. This was a really great stream. I'll catch the rest of it tomorrow. Good night, and all peace and love. Peace and love to you, Kane. I'll see you in Discord. I'll share the next kind of scary. It's scary, and it's also my hidden gem. It's called Osaka Mime, put out
Ooh.
by Behemoth.
Ooh.
It deals with. Did you ever see this TV show Grimm?
No, I know what you're talking about, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, it deals with. This is in Japan, and it deals with a world where there are not only humans but creatures like werewolves and other kind of creatures that are just sort of hanging around, like that guy's like a janitor or whatever,
Oh
and
man.
all kinds of creatures. And the let me see if I can highlight it. It deals with two policemen that are on the supernatural unit, and they deal with all the investigations into unusual crimes that deal with various werewolves and vampires. There are some creatures that just mix in with the regular populace. Here, it's in black and white, and they're trying to solve a murder or a string of murders that they have deduced happen that have been caused by a mime. Mimes are the hardest to find because they whatever they touch, they can assume its appearance, so they can appear as the person. They don't do a good job acting like the person, so they're constantly switching into other people. And here he goes to the church of some satanic church, who turns out to be his best connection. This guy here is the almost Constantine like police detective, and he's got like a fresh faced rookie detective that goes with him. He's drinking and smoking and always is hungover, and he corrupts his young, fresh-faced guy into drinking and smoking with him. But they're trying to solve these murders that are they've. And how do you solve a string of murders when the creature can turn into somebody that looks just like a regular person? So you deal with a bunch of not only supernatural creatures, but you're dealing with these two cops as they try to not only get used to each other, but figure out how to solve this crime. And I think this book is really boss. Osaka Mime.
That sounds amazing, and the artwork looks amazing. That's totally up my alley.
I think a lot of people would enjoy this book. I'm pretty sure I included it on let's see, what year is this? 23. I feel like it came out in 2021. It's written by Andy Levy, illustrated by Hugo Araujo. When did it come out? 2021. Yeah. So it came out during pandemic years, so it may have slipped under the radar. Also, it's by Behemoth, which is a small publisher.
Well, I would note that Behemoth has changed their name now.
Oh, what are they now?
They're Sumerian now.
Sumerian,
yeah, because Sumerian was I think a video game company or something, and they bought out Behemoth.
Oh, that's good to know.
So their logo looks the same, except it says Sumerian instead of Behemoth. But so if someone's looking for that book, they might not be able to find under that publisher.
Okay,
I'm definitely looking for that.
This is a good Halloween read. You dig this?
It looks amazing. That's totally up my alley.
Awesome. Well, I've sold one copy then.
Yeah. Okay, let me go next. Let me see. Or do you want to catch up on the chat for real quick?
To just get a fancy new mic. Has he gone pro? I have not gone pro. This mic cost me like $30. So no, I spend hardly any money. And but it is new, yes. Roboters 100. Hello. Kill Bill got Superman wrong nowadays since Clark is who Superman is, while Superman is the actual performance. Same for Batman. They each put personality in the roles they do. Oh, John Smith mostly worked on a fair amount of 2000 AD titles, so imagine American readers have no idea who he is. Oh yeah, Cycle's big on Strange Embrace. Oh, by David Hine. That's who wrote Sonata, I think. Was it?
He also wrote.
Yeah, that is who wrote Sonata, and Strange Embrace is good. Yeah.
Yeah, David Hine also wrote a Bulletproof Coffin by. I mean, he wrote it, but then his artwork by Shiki Kane. Do you know Shiki Kane?
I don't.
Okay.
Should I?
You should. He's really, really cool. I don't know if.
Can you pull Bulletproof Coffin for me? Is that a book I should get?
I can't pull that one, but I might be able to pull a different Shiki Kane book. Give me just a second.
Okay, I'll see if I can get caught up here. Superman being overpowered was what made him stand out. Byrne just turned him into just another hero. Okay. David Hine does good horror work in general. Byrne did a lot to give us foundation post-crisis Superman. Jurgens gave us a great Superman. Jess, are most of those Simpsons stories from those Omnis just adapted from the show? No, they're brand new. The first one has they both have, as Taylor was saying, an amazing amount of great creators, great artists, and great writers. And the artists draw the Simpsons in their own style. Like Dan Brereton does the Simpsons in his Brereton style. No, they are all specifically written separate from the show. So if you like the Simpsons, you will definitely like this. This is and they're not expensive for how nice they are. They are super nice and they're very funny. And it's not just comics, there are interstitials in there. Do I have the book here still? No, it's over in my reading chair. It's got interstitials like filled in Mad Libs or what horrors go on at Grandpa's old folks home and what horrors go on at Apu's
Convenience store.
Quickie Mart.
Yeah.
Things like that. So it's full of lots of great stuff.
Yeah, they're all original though. I don't think any of them are adaptations of those episodes.
Same, yeah. Yeah,
right,
I agree.
I have some Shiki Kane.
Oh yeah.
All right, so this is the Good News Bible. So that's his artwork. He has like, you can see it looks very Jack Kirby-ish, but with like a punk rock kind of enthusiasm to it, I would say.
Shaky Kane. Why don't I know this?
But
is it really the Bible or is it?
No, it's just because these were all strips that were put into Deadline magazine. Are you familiar with Deadline magazine?
No.
They had a lot of Tank Girl, I think, back in the day.
Okay.
I think that's where Tank Girl was serialized at first.
Deadline, okay.
But Shaky Kane, like, just as I described, it's like Jack Kirby meets punk rock, is how I describe it.
That looks so cool.
Yeah. Like, he does a lot of like wacky stuff with colors too.
That looks awesome.
Yeah.
So he colors it himself too?
Yeah. Here's a picture of Elvis fighting Godzilla.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, this book is by Breakdown Press, and I think it's only printed in Europe because it has like the price point only shows you pounds. But my local comic book shop had it, so you could get it in America. I don't know if it's in print or not. And then go ahead.
What did he illustrate that you were talking about first?
Oh, Bulletproof Coffin.
Bulletproof Coffin. Okay,
and
that's what David Hine wrote.
Yeah, and I have all the trade paperbacks, but they're just small image change paperbacks, so I don't have access to them right now.
Okay.
But I think there's 3 of those. This was a recent released by Image though with Shiki Kane and Crint Abel. And it was a 2-man anthology called Kane and Abel because it's Shiki Kane, Crint Abel. That they both do artwork and stories in. So this is that's like his early stuff, the Good News Bible. This is
Okay.
more modern Shiki Kane. Let me find a good image here for you. Oh, this is not Shiki Kane. This is a Crint Abel strip. But look at that giant bear with 2 babies and chainsaws. And he's like got a jetpack.
Oh my god, that's so awesome.
Like that's the stuff that Shiki Kane does. Like again, that was Crint Abel, but like he does like this wacky stuff that like it's just fun comics, you know? Which I know you're a big fan of fun comics.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of fun comics. Oh, here's James' overview review Simpsons Treehouse of Horror Omnibus. That was last year, I think. Thank you, James. So, man, you might want to go there for me to hear my review, see my review,
Yeah.
things of that nature.
So this came out by Image a couple years ago. It's $12.99, but it's oversized. It's a paperback, but it's like Treasury edition almost.
That looks familiar to me. I'm sure I saw it. I probably saw it at Third Eye.
Yeah, but I mean that bear is like the one that steals the show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
James also Omnidog Scary Books for October 2019. Thank you, James. So that's a place you can go. Omnidog and Omnicat review Halloween books, autumn books. As a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about one of those books as a hidden gem. Did you wait? I gave Osaka mine. I think. Did you give me your hidden gem?
Besides pulling that out, no. My next one would be Godland. Have you read this series?
Oh yeah, that's
By
the
Image?
Kirby-esque book.
Yes. So this is another. I'm a big Jack Kirby fan. If the viewers didn't know,
This is by Joe Casey.
Joe Casey's the writer, and Tom
Yeah.
Scioli is the artist.
Mm.
And Tom Scioli is like the Kirby devotee that he wrote the comics biography on Jack Kirby. I think it's called Jack Kirby: The Epic Life of the King of Comics. That came out a couple years ago. And then Tom Scioli did the Fantastic Four grand design. And then just recently, like in the last month, he did the I Am Stan, which is the comics biography of Stan Lee. So it's like the second volume, if you will, of the Jack Kirby story. But this is published by Image. It's called Godland, and they're in these like really nice hardcovers. And I'm kind of blown away the series isn't talked about more. Where's the third volume? Did I bury it?
Come on, are you a professional or not?
I know. I guess I'm not. Oh, there it is.
Oh, okay, good.
So the covers are just like all artwork on the front. It's kind of cool. And then the in papers, like these are the kind of character designs you're going to see in this book.
I remember reading this in floppies, but I don't think I collected it. I did not collect it in hardcover.
But this was Tom Scioli's, I think, his one only monthly comic that he did with Joe Casey. And it's a total, like, the whole thing is a total love letter to not only Jack Kirby, but also like Jim Starlin cosmic stories from Marvel. And here's another cool in papers.
If you're going to put up art, let me highlight you. There we go. Ooh.
But the thing that sold me on it this was when I was getting back into comics after spending a time out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the series I saw. And when I saw this character, I was like, I need to read that. Let me see if I can find him. It's the first villain. Okay, there he is. Let me see if I can get a good picture though. Where is he? There he is. Okay. So this is the first bad guy that you meet. And he's just like floating head into a helmet.
I forgot about that. That's so awesome.
So like throughout the series, his head's floating in different directions and stuff as he's like walking around. Which is like totally like I could totally see Jack Kirby coming up with that character. Like Jack Kirby's the guy that came up with MODOK. Like up like a wacky character. But the whole thing is just a total love letter to Starlin and Jack Kirby. But it's a modern comic. So if you have like an aversion to reading older comics because of all the dialogue and whatnot,
sure,
I would definitely try this out if you want like the same sensibilities of like that older style artwork, but with like modern dialogue storytelling. Then I think this is a perfect comic book to try out. But it's 3 volumes, and it's an older series too. But just these 3 volumes came out, and these are the Celestial editions. These might be out of print, but you can find them for fairly cheap. They're not like super hard to find. They also released them in paperbacks.
Do you remember liking the story as much as you like the art?
Yeah, the story I got really invested. I think towards the end you can see it kind of drifting off. I don't think it has like the best ending, but the beginning and middle are I was all along for the ride. And I will say, I kind of wish Tom Scioli wrote it because I like his writing a lot, along with his art, which he mostly does both the art and writing in most of his comics. But that one he didn't. And there were times I was like, I think Scioli would probably wrote this a little bit differently because he goes like real wacky with his story sometimes, which I love. He doesn't play it safe at all. So I think the writing, the artwork is definitely what you go for, but the writing isn't bad. It's definitely a good story.
I like Joe Casey's writing in general.
Yeah, because he wrote what are the big runs that he like? He wrote Deadpool, didn't he?
Yeah. That's one of the big books. The things. Joe Casey. What else? He wrote some X-Men. But I think Deadpool's what I know him from. He wrote. I believe he wrote the best Spider-Man Deadpool. Wait a minute, where is that?
Oh yeah, the Spider-Man Deadpool team up or whatever.
Yeah.
That run's getting a modern era epic collection this fall, I think.
No, that was Joe Kelly. I apologize. And I think it was Joe Kelly that did Deadpool. Okay, I'm getting Joe Kelly mixed up with Joe Casey.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I don't know what
Behemoth Sumerian is LA based. El Borba contains some of the El Borba, maybe raw. Where I saw it was raw. Okay, yeah. Bulletproof Coffin is fantastic. Cycle yells. Shaky Kane is kind of a more wacky, fun Allred, so Jess would dig it.
That's a good way of putting him too. Yeah.
Release the Johto book.
Yes.
Yeah, David Hine and Shaky Kane did a comic with Floating World Comics called Cowboy and Insects that was a ton of fun. Underrated creative duo.
Yes, I love anything by Shaky Kane.
James doing some fabulous work. It looks like you can only buy Osaka Mime from Atomic Books website. Thank you, James. So if you dug what I showed you for Osaka Mime, this is where you can get it. Atomic Books. Thank you, James.
I'm going to
look at getting to the point where I don't think I can do the show without James. Yeah, you need to get those Simpsons books. Lots of extra things that are totally fun. And it's really well priced for how extravagant it is. First Taylor does marriages. Now he's showing the Bible on the stream. There's a new Taylor in town, Minister. Here's Samantha from New Zealand. Just tuned in. I'll go back and watch from the beginning later. Good to see you, Samantha. Where have you been traveling recently? She's a big traveler. Breakdown Press is a super underrated publisher, especially if you're into... What is that word?
Gekiga. I think, and Rick Ray can correct me, but I think that's like the slice of life genre of manga.
Oh, wow.
I think. Don't quote me on that. Rick Ray, please correct me. But I think that's like the slice of life genre for manga.
I have never seen that word. That's good to learn a new word every day. Pits of Hell is manga. Manga chat. Our big breakdown press supporters. I'm about to read the Stan Lee book. Love Scioli. Those Godland hardcovers are nice. Scioli had the recent Jack Kirby one-shot comic with Image that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was cool. I have that.
Tom Sholey did a great homage to Detective Comics 27 too. That was brilliant. I thought we passed the point where Jess couldn't do the show without James long ago. I'm just admitting it now to the public. Yeah, you're right. Oh, I've been hoping for a Joe Kelly Deadpool omnibus reprint since early 2020. I foolishly passed in 2018. Is it out of print now? I just read that book last year and I really enjoyed it. It was really, really good.
I think Marvel pumped out like all of those Deadpool omnibuses, and then I think they finally all went out of print. So none of them have showed up on the most wanted reprint polls yet. But I have a feeling they're going to, like, on next year's maybe. Whenever I think Deadpool 3 comes out next year, there might be a lot of buzz for Deadpool next year. I think the character's kind of like waned in popularity the last couple of years.
What?
But they're for a while, like they're pumping out. I mean, they have like how many Deadpool omnibuses are there? You have all of them, don't you?
Let's see.
Including the mini buses, I think they're like double digits.
Oh yeah, there's 4 mini buses. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Deadpools. One of them is Deadpool and Cable. Deadpool Classics. Deadpool by Joe Kelly. And yeah, I admit that I own the Daniel Way Deadpool because I love Deadpool so much. Deadpool and Company. Oh, and there's a hardcover, an omnibus of the Deadpool that I kept in hardcover, the really good one by Brian Posehn.
Oh yeah,
and Jerry Duggan. That was really good. But that was a giant one. I kept my hardcovers of that. Okay, so I'm due for. This is one that Kristen hipped me to. And I read it, and it's by Rainbow Rowell, Pumpkinheads. This, first of all, this has one of those covers that feels really good. It's a simple story about a couple of best friends that work at a pumpkin patch, and the one guy has a crush on this other girl at the pumpkin patch. So it's all about how shy he is and not able to talk to her, and his best friend is trying to help him. And it's a very sweet story, very well written. She's just great, Rainbow Rowell is. I loved her She-Hulk. I still need to read her Runaways. And it's all about life at the pumpkin patch, which is surprisingly complex because you're, of course, dealing with emotional teenagers or young adults, whatever they are. But it's really well drawn and really well written, and it captures the feeling of fall and Halloween really well. It's not scary at all, except you're dealing with human emotions, which is of course scary. But if you like a book about fall and corn mazes and a sweet love story that's very innocent and fun, and hay rides and stuff, it just gives you that feeling of fall. And Rainbow Rowell is such a great writer. I have not read any of her prose or anything, because I don't read prose anymore because of my Fakakta channel that I have constantly having to read comics, which is fine with me. But Pumpkinheads doesn't get enough attention. Everybody needs to read this. You should read it right now. A little bit of crisp in the air, trick-or-treaters, bobbing for apples, caramel apples, apple cider donuts. I'm talking myself into wanting dessert right now.
I think you had like a Beetlejuice effect because I see the Comic Slayer just popped into the chat.
Oh, where is she?
At the very most recent comments.
Pumpkinheads, a fall staple. I read it every year. The moment I put this on, you say my name.
Yeah.
And I gave you credit. Mary M agrees. Pumpkinheads is a must read for me every fall. Oh my gosh, Kristen, you just got home from the con. How did it go? I know that you were a little on the fence because of they weren't giving Reed the proper info on how he could get set up, but
I
good
saw
grief.
Reed posted a picture. He was set up today, so he must have figured that out.
Yeah, she was saying they weren't good on giving info to him, which is a little important when you're trying to set up at a con.
Yeah, because I saw Reed's setup and actually was like zooming in because I think I might be behind on a couple of his books I don't have.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. I almost pulled Summer Vacation, but I felt like
Yeah, that's one I don't have.
that is so good. I got
Yeah.
the ultra great edition that came with his vinyl that that Reed and Kristen made a video and sent it to Patty because I said Patty's not going to let me do that Kickstarter level because she doesn't want me to get any more vinyl. And so the two of them made the greatest little video where they convinced Patty, and Patty sent a video back to them saying she was convinced. So I have Summer Vacation, and
awesome.
it came with the vinyl, which is really cool. Let's see, Pumpkinheads. Chris says Pumpkinheads is really good. All right, thank you. Let's see. Oh, Joe Casey wrote Sex with Pyotr Kowalski. I have that, of course. Yeah, I feel like just may have read that one. Yeah, I did. I have those trades. Gigika is like manga's underground comics. Gigika is alternate or adult manga, which, yes, does include a lot of slice of life stuff. It's most associated with stuff published in Garo magazine.
Garo, yeah.
Garo.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was sort of right, but not exactly.
I think that's cool.
It's like
Yeah,
the Fantagraphics kind of stuff in Japan, I guess. So it's
okay.
not always slice of life, but it's, you know.
Yeah, one of Omar's commenters assured me it would be reprinted to coincide with the new movie. No such luck. Well, this is true because he's an Omar commenter. This is true. He frequently comments blatant I've had complaints about that, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do about it? It's in Omar's chat. People complain to me about Psycho Cleveland like I own him. Yeah, the community invoking the name of Rainbow Rowell just summoned Kristen into the stream. That's exactly right. Reed's setup looks really professional. I saw it in person at Heroes Con, and it is very professional. Like, way better even than a lot of actual professional setups. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It was great. Surprisingly super busy con. Oh, okay, good. That's good because I know you were kind of dreading it.
Did you meet Jim Shooter?
Yeah. Did Jim Shooter sign anything for you?
No,
I
guess her dad went, so she didn't have to go sign anything. She didn't have a Roy Thomas story.
You don't. Yeah. Do you have any rants that we can look forward to? The drummer of the Queers came up to compliment his gig poster and said he will be reaching out.
Whoa.
It was wild. Reed does some really cool gig posters.
I know.
I've
seen those, and I wish I had room to like put posters and stuff because I would definitely.
Yeah. AS has a semi-hidden gem. The Matrix comics were originally just published on the Matrix website back in the day. Includes one of my favorite stories by Neil Gaiman with art by Sienkiewicz. Whoa, I didn't know about those.
I think Steve Skroce did a lot of the Matrix comics too.
Oh,
I love
know
Steve
that
Skroce.
name.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I did Pumpkinhead, so I think you owe me.
Right.
I did go to the Jim Shooter panel though. He has great stories. I would go to that panel.
Then you would actually get to hear stories from him.
Yeah, because he had nothing to say to me when it was just me and him and his assistant.
My next one is Jim Woodring, the Frank book.
Ah,
Have you read
okay.
this?
I'm familiar with his work.
Okay. I absolutely love his Frank stuff. He actually put out a book that's collects all the rest of his Frank stuff last year, which I should have pulled out as well. But these are all silent comics. But he has like this old timey, like old school Disney Mickey Mouse kind of feel to his artwork.
Right.
But it's like super trippy and like the artwork is just, I don't know, it's amazing artwork. But these are all silent, so you would think like, okay, I'm just going to run through this entire thick book in a few minutes. But I promise you, looking at this artwork and reading the actual sequential story that happens throughout these silent comics, you will spend as much time on this as you do like a normal comic. It's like trippy stories, like it's kind of like, I guess it's kind of slice of life within his own universe of this Frank character, living with all these other weird creatures. And it's going on about his life. There's this weird guy.
Oh, yeah. I recognize that guy.
Yeah. I mean, the guy up here kind of looks like Mr. Natural, like R. Crumb, maybe a younger version of him.
He does sort of. Without the beard. Is that his long chin there?
Yeah, with his, you can see his tongue poking out down here. But they're just like so wacky and weird. They do get kind of sometimes violent, but not itchy and scratchy violent or anything. But this guy, he's holding a gun at this point, at this one. But so it's like the reason I was pulled into, because I do love that old artwork of like the old Mickey Mouse kind of Disney style.
It's pretty detailed.
It is super detailed, and it's like there's like definitely a lot of surrealism in here. Like if you're a fan of like Salvador Dali, who was the aforementioned, like that kind of like surrealist stuff.
$1 million a minute.
Yeah, like that's what you're gonna get from this. And like I said, you'll actually be reading through this, and there is color comics too, which is color work is amazing too. Like it feels like you're watching like animation because how fluid his cartooning is. So I would recommend this for anyone that's a fan of like again old timey Disney stuff. His painted artwork is amazing too. Or if you're a fan of like Carl Barks like Duck books, like that kind of stuff, like I definitely highly recommend. Oh, hey,
Taylor
thank you.
Killer pick.
Jim Woodring.
Taylor, did you get the deluxe version of the new book? It's beautiful.
I did not. The slipcase version. I just got the normal. I think it's like a flexi cover. I don't think it's quite hardcover.
Yeah, I will say that you probably have the most diverse taste of anybody I have on the show.
That's an amazing compliment. I thank you.
You do have an amazing range of stuff you like, because you're one of the few people that I can talk to that likes certain Silver Age stuff and Golden Age stuff and independent stuff and modern stuff, but it seems like you really have an open mind about really not wanting to like, but having an open mind to getting into stuff that others may not. Like me, I may not want to get into some stuff and I might be closed-minded about it, but you really have an eclectic taste in books that I think shows, a willingness to try and like a lot of things.
I really appreciate it. That's an amazing compliment. I think it's because I love the comic book medium so much that there's so much you can do with it that I'm always trying to explore when people are like trying to push it to its limits and like do different things with the medium of comics. Yeah, I mean, I like everything from like superheroes to wacky stuff. We were talking about like what we're going to talk, like the topic, and I said the hidden gems is something I can always do. I think I've always had that kind of innate ability to try to find things that other people aren't watching or listening to. Like back in the day, like in high school, I was always trying to find the next punk band that was going to be before they got big, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Same thing with comics, though. I'm always trying to find like new stuff, and also discover like the classics. Like I obviously like you said, Golden Age, Silver Age, EC comics. So I want to know what laid the ground floor for the stuff that we read today. And I think now we've talked about this on the show before, and you've talked about this quite a bit. Now is like, I think you call it the golden age of comics now because there's so much out there. I mean, we're in a time when like Dogman and manga are what's dominating comic book sales, which I think is great because it's just expanding the possible audience for things like Marvel and DC to potentially obtain, or even like Fantagraphics and those kinds of publishers as well. Like the amount of people and the diverse audience of people that are reading comics today is like it's never been before. Like it reminds me of what people talk about the golden age. Like back in the golden age, before Frederick Wertham almost killed comics, it was not uncommon for women to read romance comics on the daily, like the Jack Kirby, Joe Simon romance comics, which I have right here.
Wow.
These were selling like hundreds, $200,000 or 200,000 copies an issue.
Was that
romance comics?
Is that the flip? Wait, is that the omnibus, or that's not the Omni that they put out? Oh,
No,
you have that too right there?
Oh, I have that somewhere, but these are the good stuff. So these are the Simon and Kirby romance comics. These are put out by Fantagraphics.
Oh.
And any sort of Kirby devotee that you talk to will say like this was a good era of romance comics. The era that's collected in the War Romance, which I have that omnibus too, and it has its own merits as well. But like Stan Lee was writing a lot of those, and I love Stan Lee. I'm not a Stan Lee hater, but his romance comics, the stories weren't really that great. Like this is the good stuff, which I think these are out of print, but there's 2 volumes put out by Fantagraphics.
Do you have, speaking of Simon and Kirby, I still remember back in maybe it was the late 80s or early 90s when I picked up Boys Ranch.
Oh.
Do you have that?
I don't.
I don't even know. I don't even remember who published it. Maybe it was Fantagraphics, but I don't even remember. I know right where it is over in the other room, but I was so excited to read it that I came right home from the comic book store and got on my bed like I was 10 years old and started reading that. Boys Ranch was such a cool book, and that was a Simon and Kirby book. And I agree that Simon and Kirby had a vibe like Kim Cattrall and her bassist scatting. Which I should get that in. I have it always up, but I should get it in so I could just play it right now.
You need like a remixed version of your intro with that in there.
I really need to play it so much she sues me because I need the publicity.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That's really what I need. I need a lawsuit from Kim Cattrall.
Yeah, Boys Ranch, I think that I want to say that was published by Marvel. Because I think that was like that weird hardcover. They did that, and then they did Fighting American in a hardcover, which I do have that one.
I don't think I have that one.
And that's a fun one because it's almost them like parodying Captain America a little. It's not like on the nose like a Mad Magazine kind of parody, but it's like if you're reading it, you're like they're kind of making fun of Captain America, which they created.
Yeah.
But yeah, romance comics were like hot sellers back in the day, but then Frederick Wertham ruined comics, and they're not. So. And one thing I always hear too is like in Japan, like it's not uncommon to see like a businessman with a manga in his hand on the bus or train or whatever. We don't have that in America. It's always like since Frederick Wertham, it's been kind of a stigma. Like if you're not a kid and you're reading comics, it's like you read comics, like
yeah.
But I think we're finally getting to the age where maybe it's becoming like culturally appropriate to read comics, and of all genres. There's like horror genres and indies like. Romance comics, like manga has their like everything, every type of genre that you can want. So if you and this is the thing I love about comics too, is like if you're into a certain type of like movie or TV show, I can recommend a comic to you, like a newer comic that you would enjoy. And I don't think we've had that for a long time.
Right. That's why I feel the output currently that's why I call it we're in the real golden age of comics, because I feel like there's something for everyone, and it's really well done too.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff that's out there, and it's so well done, and it doesn't bother me that middle schoolers and teenagers are mostly reading manga. I just want them to read something that has to do with comics. And I think it's great. I'm sorry that if you go into a Barnes and Noble, if you can find a Barnes and Noble, that it's all manga and hardly any Western comics. But the other part of me says that stuff sells, and that's good for comics in general, and that's drawing people into it. Maybe they graduate or pivot over into Western comics. Maybe they don't. Maybe they stay with that, but that's also good for the industry if they just keep reading. As long as they're reading some type of graphic novel, whether it's manga or Western comics, I'm happy about that.
Yeah, that's the thing, because people will say like manga sales are killing the big two comics, like they're in sales, like manga's dominating. But like the thing that people don't, the caveat that people don't add is like those manga readers, they're not. I mean, some of them are, but they're not big two readers that went to manga. Like that's a whole new audience of kids, of teenagers that are their first comics reading was manga. So it's like a whole new audience. It's not, they didn't leave the big two to go to manga. Like they're reading manga as their first one. So the way I see it is like you're expanding your potential audience. If you're Marvel or DC, you're expanding your potential audience. You should be going and trying to find out ways to get those kids reading your comics. And DC is putting out a few manga titles. What I like to see is like Ablaze and Titan are both getting into the manga game. And I think that's a great thing to do for publishers that are more independent or smaller than the Marvel and DC, is to do like what Dark Horse has always done, where they have like licensed comics, they have creator-owned comics, they have manga. So like if you're a Dark Horse, if you find out what Dark Horse Comics is by way of Berserk, let's say, then you might come across other titles that they have, which are comics. And then I hope to see one day where people will read manga and Western comics both, that it's not this like divided thing where it's like, oh, you're a manga reader, you're a comics reader kind of thing. Like, because I read both, and I don't think there's any reason to not read both. I know like you have there is a learning process of the.
That's just a me issue,
right?
Though.
Yeah. But I think that's just a potential audience that Marvel and DC should be looking at. And one thing that frustrates me too, and then I'll get off my soapbox, is when I go into a Target and Walmart and I see like total shelves of manga. I'm not upset that manga's in there. What upsets me is that they're smart about it, the manga companies, by putting their stuff in there. It frustrates me that Marvel and DC don't have their books right next to it. It's like back in the day, like, and you know this, like Newsstand was what pulled people in, what brought in new comics readers. And then when the direct market got big in 1986, that's when I think that's the first year the direct market beat the Newsstand in sales. So that's when comic book shops became like prominent. And then now it's only comic book shops. Now you can find them at Barnes & Noble, you can find them on Amazon, but if you want to go to like a brick and mortar store and you want to buy a comic book, American Western comic book, chances are you have to go to a comic book shop. Someone's trying to read a comic book for the first time, they're probably not going to go to a comic book shop. So we need to have in department stores like Epic Collections or easy trade paperbacks. Like, oh, you saw the Ant-Man movie? Well, here's an Ant-Man comic book for you to read. I don't know why that's not happening. I was actually at Walmart a couple weeks ago, and they had IDW had the Last Ronin in there, but it wasn't the Last Ronin comic book, the TMNT comic. It was the cover collection. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is a Walmart, and this is a collection of variant covers. This isn't the actual comic. The actual comic's not in there. It's just a hardcover of the variant covers. I'm like, this is for a hardcore collector that loved that series, that wants to buy more of it. Why is it the Last Ronin in Walmart? Like, that would be a great comic book to have in Walmart. Yeah. So I think manga's just doing it right. And I don't know why Marvel and DC aren't seeing that. I don't know.
I don't have an answer for that, but I thought that was very well said. And if you want to get comics, Western style comics, go to Organic Price Books. Use my code Omnidog for $2 off your order. But here's where the really big savings are: 5% off shipping 3 or more books together. Omnidog, ship it together. Even I use that code to save money. Bet I do.
And they sell both manga and Western comics.
Right. This is interesting. Two Hidden Gems, Invisible Republic, and Copperhead, both published by Image. I almost pulled Copperhead, but the reason I didn't is there's 4 books for Copperhead, and it's great, and I love it, but I don't know where it stands in relation to getting finished because the creators just haven't gone back to it, and it's epically epic. It's like High Noon in space with all kinds of creatures, where a new sheriff comes to the planet the sheriff is a woman, a human woman, and she has to deal with all kinds of craziness, including getting her son to school. And it's brilliantly written, but I think the last book came out in like 2018, and I didn't want to. I mean, I can recommend it, getting the books, but it hasn't finished yet, and I'm kind of amped up for that to finish, like I am Black Monday Murders. But Black Monday Murders, the artist got sick during COVID for like 2 years, and so I understand why that hasn't been finished. But Copperhead really needs to be finished. But Invisible Republic is also great. Invisible Kingdom is also great by G. Willow Wilson.
I love the elevator pitch you just gave for Copperhead. High Noon in space. I love when people can just pitch a comic book with like a small little description like that.
Yeah, it's really well done, and the art is beautiful. And I really, one of my favorite comics, and I'm sort of frustrated that it doesn't. It seems like a Warren Ellis book where trees. He does 3 volumes of trees and then forgets about it and moves on to something else. And I feel like Copperhead. Why hasn't it been finished? It's a great premise, and it's well written and really beautifully drawn. And which leads me to my next book, which is a hidden gem. I've talked about it before, and it turns out I'm a fan of this woman's writing, because I realize now I have 4 books by her, and I love them all for different reasons. But this is Bad Mother by Krista Faust. And the art, well, that's kind of gory there. The art is Mike Diodato. I'm Junior, and I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, because I feel like it's Psycho. I'm sure you can correct me on how I pronounced it, but nerve-wracking thriller from crime writer Krista Faust. Blah, 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 blah. When her teenage daughter goes missing under mysterious circumstances, suburban soccer mom April Walters embarks on a harrowing mission to find her. She kicks ass and chews bubblegum, and she is all out of bubblegum. She goes crazy to find her daughter, and she uncovers all kinds of evil within the town. And Krista Faust can really write well. I really like her writing. I'd be really interested in getting her, interviewing her, because she also writes she also writes some kind of fetishy stuff. That book that I reviewed with Kristen called Hit Me, Krista Faust identifies herself as a fetish pervert or something. That she's apparently into BDSM, and Hit Me is all about that. And I thought it was about an assassin or something, or a blackjack dealer, but no, it's about the protagonist gets hit for a living. But let me get back to this book. This book is really, really cool, because she's like just stopping at nothing to get her daughter back. The police aren't helping, so she has to do it all on her own. The art is amazing. The action sequences are amazing. There's lots of action. Anybody can read this. There's tons of violence, which is, of course, apparently okay, but not tons of sex. So there's tons of violence in it as she goes apeshit crazy to find her daughter. And it's really, really well done with fabulous art. And this is put out by AWA Upshot. And I have 4, as I said, I have 4 books by this woman, and she can just flat out write comic books really well. I think that you would dig this. This is Bad Mother Volume 1. I don't know if there's Volume 2 yet, but the cover alone is just a crack up.
Yeah.
Suburban soccer mom who just goes crazy trying to find her daughter. I haven't seen the movie Taken, but I assume it's some kind of riff on that, except I don't think she has the certain set of skills that Liam Neeson did. And in those movies, he just gets angrier and angrier and follows her leads. And I won't give away the ending, but she is one bad mother.
That's another great elevator pitch. Soccer mom goes apeshit trying to find daughter. That's all I need to know. I'm
Damn.
sold.
I wish I had read the singles so I could get the blurb on the back.
Oh yeah. You need it like you need to get a blurb on a printed book before Omar does. That would be the ultimate bragging rights.
I think that those blurbs come from people who read and review floppies, and that's not my wheelhouse.
They do, but like I do social media for Omar, and I'm totally speaking on my own here. I've not had this conversation with Omar, so don't anybody think that I'm speaking for him or he's said that. I've never talked to him about this.
Okay.
But it blows my mind that like he does so much for the omnibus game of Marvel that they have not given him a blurb on an omnibus yet. Like you think like
of that.
Because they're reprinted stuff that he's reviewed before. Like you'd think that like an X-Men omnibus or something, they'd have like an Omar near my condition blurb. Some omnibuses have blurbs on them. It is kind of blows my mind. Again, I'm speaking just for myself there. Omar's not said that to me. Although he should.
Okay, I'm going to spread the rumor that Omar is angry at Marvel because they haven't given him a blurb. From the Comic Slayer a few minutes ago, Jess, do you like Phil Hester? I just read a book with art by Phil Hester. I think that was Gotham City Year 1, wasn't it? I got organized and I filed it away already. But yeah, I also read a Green Arrow written by the
Kevin
Smith. That was good too with Phil Hester. So yeah, I do like Phil Hester. Where are we going with this?
Maybe she met him today.
Did you meet him? Where I don't.
Maybe she has a comic book to recommend to you,
or maybe a rant.
Oh yeah, maybe Phil Hester pissed her off.
This is her only comment. Lars Anderson. Oh wait, Comic Slayer. Have you read Freaks d'Amour, illustrated by Phil Hester, or his The Wretch? She says, unfortunately, I think I've only read his work with Lemire, but I need to read more. Did you meet him, Kristen? Okay, wait. Oh. Cycling, we had dinner with him and Kyle. Super nice guy. Comic Slayer, what's that sound? Her dropping names again. Kyle Starks, her best friend. And cling, cling, cling. Now Phil Hester is another one of those names that have dropped on the floor. Wow.
Kyle Starks is cool. Moving on up in the industry too. So that name dropping is just going to carry more weight every time she does it.
I can't wait to read whatever his
Peacemaker.
No, the book he's doing for Marvel with like the Marvel animals, like bats is in it.
Oh, I didn't know he was doing that.
Yeah, I think Marvel Unleashed.
Oh, wow. I knew he was doing the Peacemaker series for DC.
Oh, okay. I haven't read that, but I love his writing. I almost pulled some of it, but I felt like Kristen and I talk about him a lot, so he's probably really not a hidden gem. He's a gem, but I think he's a discovered gem.
Yeah.
But and I've met him a couple times. Kristen has introduced me. We interviewed him one time, but I can't wait for is it? It's not. Did I just say Marvel Unleashed, or is it? Maybe it's just Unleashed. It's got bats in it. Who's my favorite character right now? I just love anything bats. Yeah, they are living a dream. MF40, Justin Taylor, what Marvel DC run do you think will never be an omnibus format? Omar didn't answer this morning. I suggested Cap Falcon by Priest. It is too thin for an omnibus. I have the CC. What Marvel DC run do you think will never be an omnibus format? Well,
Man of Steel by John Byrne.
okay, that's
No,
a
I
good answer.
was just kidding. I think probably like it would have to be like if you're not including small runs, because like you said that like obviously small runs they'll be orphaned out of omnibus potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Millie the
Marvel,
Model. If they did Millie the Model,
Oh.
I would plot.
I would love. I love. That's why I got the 1961 omnibus because I wanted to read some of that stuff. I've never read it before.
Yeah, it's
Um,
innocent fun.
yeah.
Sugar and Spike. That's what they.
Oh,
Okay, Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, and Sugar and Spike. DC will never reprint or will never do an omnibus. They certainly should. Sugar and Spike is still funny, and I'm probably the only one that would like Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, and that is because those are not stories that I would recommend for anybody but me. Those are really hardcore Silver Age goofiness.
but I love that because that stuff's like it taps into like if you like Archie comics from that era, like you would probably like be able to put those in the same Venn diagram, maybe. Not Sugar
Yeah,
and Spike, but the Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane ones. Sugar and
yeah.
Spike, though, you've talked to me about that series, and I've never read it before. But are you familiar with like John Stanley stuff?
I
Like John
don't think.
Stanley's like Little Lulu and Nancy and Melvin
Oh, oh, oh.
Monster.
Yeah, I would say it's different than that,
Okay.
and now it was kind of subversive for the day because they were these two toddlers who spoke to each other in complete grown-up voices, and it was really funny. I don't know that audiences now would think of it as funny and groundbreaking as it was, but it's one of those things that I think you sort of need to clear your mind and let it wash over you that this was what it was like in, I don't know, 1964, whenever they were coming out.
It sounds
Because
like Rugrats.
eh,
That's
yeah.
that's the sales pitch blurb. Like before Rugrats, there was Sugar and Spike.
Okay, there you go. There's your blurb. Taylor Talks Comics for when Sugar and Spike comes out. Yeah, they may look at it and think this is just a Rugrats ripoff when Sugar and Spike was there before, but they get into all kinds of hijinks and it's told from their point of view. So you just see the adults' hands and stuff. The only thing I have collected, that was like the last DC archive book they put out, and I got the Lois Lane and the Sugar and Spike, and then I think they stopped the archive series. But that's the only thing I've ever got collected for Sugar and Spike. So, and I get it. There's only 25 people that would want it, and I'm one of them. So,
Buy it based on your recommendation.
huh.
I think mine for DC would probably be the old classic Captain Marvel, like the CC Beck Otto Bender stuff, just because they've teased potential collections for just like even just the Monster Society of Evil storyline, and they've like solicited it but didn't pull, or they pulled it and stuff because of offensive material.
Oh yeah.
So I think that one, which is one that I would love. Marvel, though, I feel like has shown that they'll put anything in omnibus. So I don't know that there's anything off limits. I think probably that Golden Age stuff like Millie the Model, but I mean now they're farming out the Atlas era stuff to Fantagraphics. They're printing a lot of that stuff now. So I don't know. But I'd say like anything Golden Age probably.
From Marvel?
From DC, that it's more obscure. Like they're doing obviously the Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, but like Captain Marvel, Sugar and Spike, like that kind of stuff. Like
they have a huge catalog of Golden Age stuff, like All-Star Comics, Dr. Fate, Starman, I'm just like Spectre, Black Canary. I don't know if there's enough.
Yeah, even like Golden Age Flash.
Oh yeah,
Jack Cole's Plastic Man. I would love a Jack Cole Plastic Man omnibus. I think they'd probably need like 2, maybe 3. I think 2 omnibuses maybe. But that would be great.
Yeah, I have a few of those archives. That stuff is so funny,
and that stuff holds up today too. That artwork for sure. Like
yeah,
Jack Cole was just amazing.
Yeah, Comic Cavalcade. There were a ton of those with Flash and Green Lantern and Wonder Woman in it. And okay, I'm gonna lose the audience if I keep talking
Yeah,
about this
sorry.
stuff. No, it's all right. When will Omnidog become Omni Wolf? Blast, are you implying he's devolving? Evolving. Well, a wolf is up in the food chain, moving up in the food chain pretty much. Oh, here's Kim Cattrall scatting. Thank you. I need to get that in so I can just play it.
That should be like the pinned comment on your chat.
Yeah. Okay, and then they're arguing about dogs and wolves, dogs and wolves, dogs and rules. This started over 3 hours ago, so we're gonna need to end it pretty soon.
Yeah,
I think Taylor owes me another gem because I have one more.
I'll do one quickly.
Okay.
So you were talking about like the Rugrats, like people that see Sugar and Spike now would think it was a ripoff.
Mm.
I kind of love like discovering what was the precursor, what was the inspiration for artists.
Mm-hmm.
And the one I'm about to show now was when I read it and saw it, it was clearly this was the direct inspiration from Frank Miller doing Sin City. Like you read this comic and you'll be like, oh, Frank Miller had to have been a fan of this comic book because it looks like Sin City. So this is Alex Sinner. Have you ever read this?
Oh, I have 2 of those books.
Do you have both of these?
Like I do.
Like the phone book paperbacks?
But I haven't read them yet.
Okay, well, maybe I can pitch it to you.
Okay, well, I already own them, so you're halfway there.
This is like hard-boiled detective comics. It's from Jose Munoz and Carlos Sampaio, and they're black and white, and they're collected in these 2 like phone book. They're not standard size because they're kind of like squarish a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But they follow this detective, and he just goes through all this like hard-boiled crime. Let me try to get closer to the screen there. And you can see the artwork just looks like Frank Miller like ripped this right for Sin City. But this was highly influential. This was they're Argentinian, I think, the creators. But this was being released in Europe originally.
Okay.
This is like the black and white hard-boiled crime. Like if you're doing Crime Corner, this would be perfect for an episode of Crime Corner.
Oh.
But it's just like this. The world building is like so great too. Like it just feel like they fill this town. Like Joe's Bar is like this frequent hangout that the main detective goes to, Alex Sinner, and like hangs out and talks to like the bartenders about what case he's on now. But highly recommend these if you're into Sin City, of course. But if also you're into like Brubaker crime or Greg Rucka crime, like this is the stuff that came before that. And I think if you're into that and you're wanting some little bit older comics, and they're good reads, and the artwork's amazing too. But yeah, Alex Sinner.
Nice.
And I think this might be out of print, but you could probably find these easily. They're paperbacks and they're
you can find them in my collection.
You can find them at Omnidog's Vault.
Oh yeah, Age of Bronze. I have 3 or 4 of those. Yeah, it does seem like I've been waiting a long time for that. Non-player, that's another one. By the way, today is the last day you can use 15% off anything in the Target app. I put SM2 with other stuff used, so got it like below $50. SM2, Spider-Man 2, the video game. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, Krista Faust has done some crime novels with Hard Case Crime. Haven't read those books, but the titles are very suggestive. Yeah. Jess should get a blurb on whatever the next Mike Allred book is after he responded. I need to get back to him and see if he's done with the deadlines. That was about 3 months ago. I think we've only communicated through YouTube, so I need to see if I can give him my email address. Would that be the dream? Oh, we'll be best friends, and good idea,
Yeah.
Rick Ray. Then I'll beat Omar, which I don't really care about. They basically only use print media for blurbs or anything like that. Print media? It's harder to grab a blurb from a video than skimming a review. Oh.
That's fair.
Oh, here's Next Imaginaut. How's it going? Apologies for the late join. 2 recommendable hidden gems off the top of my head, unreservedly. Brandon Graham's Prophet, which we discussed earlier, like at the beginning of the show, especially if one can get the single issues, which feature a ton of very good short stories and assorted back matter, not included in the trades. That's what I have, and likely never to be in any hardcovers due to royalty issues. And 2 with qualifications. Alice Cott's Zero, which is very uneven but wildly audacious and was one of the most exciting monthly and experimental series on the racks during its initial release. The where is number? Here it is. The series was intended, this is a 4 out of 5, was intended to run much longer, but had to be abruptly finished due to Cott nearly dying of Lyme disease and weathering an array of other personal crises that all figure. We haven't seen that. The rest.
I love that next Imaginaut. Well, he started off with 1 and 2, and then it just it grew to 5.
That's pretty typical. Let's see. Ew. Kyle Stark's Peacemaker has been pretty fun. Oh, I've read this woman's Dracula Mother Effer. That was good, and I think she has something new coming out this month. If it may have already come out.
I think it is this month. Yeah.
I feel like it may have already come out. Let's see. David Graham says The Shadow Strikes. I should have narrowed it down to more standard runs. Well, you got what we thought. Here's Dr. Elevator. What up, Doc? Are there any collected hardcovers of Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen stuff? If there are, I am not aware of them.
Yeah, because I never got into archives, did it?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any Jimmy Olsen being collected. That is the goofiest stuff. That's what was great about Matt, Mrs. DeConnick. What's his Mr. DeConnick? Matt.
Matt Fraction.
His Jimmy Olsen book was so great because not only, oh my man, you can pull everything. I love this book. So is The Minister. I think The Minister might have recommended it to me. It is so genuinely funny and pulls on so many of the goofy things that happened to Jimmy Olsen in the original run, because he was always changing into the Wolf Man or Plastic Man or some giant man. To keep it interesting, I think they just kept giving him all these weird changes. But I can highly recommend that Matt Fraction book. Alice Cott Zero is a fantastic series that is super underrated. Maybe the sales on Kyle Baker's Plastic Man hardcover weren't impressive enough. I have that. I have the bendy one with the rubber
banded edition.
Yeah. Alex Sinner is just as great as Sin City, if not better.
I agree.
Jeff, hi Jess. Tom King or Wonder Woman just started. You excited also for that? Yes, we talked about that 2.5 hours ago. But yeah, I got Wonder Woman and Birds of Prey #1s because of the Art Germ covers. But I also have heard that it's great. Like the first issues are just amazingly great. So yeah, I'm very excited. JT White Wolf Library will catch you soon later. So just popping in to say hi. Looking forward to watching all these books Jess wants to read before Invincible. He is on a campaign to get me to finish Invincible. Taylor is a great co-host. You should have him on a more regular basis.
Thank you, Mr. Awesome.
That Plastic Man book sold out pretty fast, I believe. AS, thanks Taylor and Jess for all these great hidden gem ideas. I'm calling it a night. Peace and love. Yeah, I have to call it a night sometime soon. Here it is. 5 of 6. Heavily into the finale. Really ambitious stuff from a young writer just gaining their bearings and managing to follow
Wait.
through.
Hold on.
You want to know
No,
where?
this comment kind of describes Next Imaginaut writing a comment. Heavily into the finale. Really ambitious stuff from a young writer just gaining their bearings and managing to follow through on a project. It's like him writing about having a continuous comment.
He's always got a cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's turning into like a meta comment now.
Would have left unfinished for one reason or another. You were right, Blas. Anything Grendel by Matt Wagner. I remember reading that.
That's something I need to dive into. It's a hole in my reading.
I almost pulled this, but I think it's out of print. Why I Hate Saturn is awesome, but I think it's way out of print.
Kyle Baker's one of those cartoonists that can do a lot of different styles.
And he's a good writer.
Yeah. That's one of his older ones, isn't it?
Yeah, I got that back. I feel like I got that back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Guzzbuzz is still here. Loving the new Birds of Prey team. Guzz, we need to do a new Crime Corner if you're still into it. This is the first I've seen of you in a long time. And I will give my last hidden gem, which I don't know if it's really hidden, but it's by Ahoy. So it's a small publisher, but Mark Russell's My Bad.
Oh, yes.
I think you'd love this because it is super sharp, biting satire on the superhero genre. It's got like Chandelier Man, and it's just so great. I love anything Mark Russell. And this, there's a volume 2 that I have somewhere that that I need to read because I've read this, and this is just, I think Mark Russell is amazing. His stuff is just such great fun, still having a point and but he doesn't hit you over the head with it. He just slides it in as satire, and it's brilliant. My Bad is great. Ahoy Comics is putting out a lot of great stuff, like the Earth books, the Wrong Earth books.
Oh yeah.
And here's Chandelier Man.
So I know you read this before you read JLI, but can you see the influence now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I totally can. You're right.
You can, like JLI was definitely an influence on that series. But yeah, I love goofy superhero characters. Chandelier Man, like that's amazing.
Yeah, but it's just really sharply written. And now that I've finally seen the Condiment King episode of Batman the animated series, I really want to see more Condiment King because they put out Batman the animated series action figures and the Build-A-Figures Condiment King, and I almost want to get that just because it's such goofy fun.
Yes, goofy characters like that. We need more of those.
Yeah. Out of 6 out of 7, another that just occurred to me, the late 80s, early 90s, Andrew Helfer, Kyle Baker, and Howard Chaykin, the Shadow Trades that Dynamite put out. He's going to pull.
I got him.
Something. Oh, wow.
Howard Chaykin, Andrew Helfer, Kyle Baker. This one has that's Howard Chaykin as well. This one has Bill Sienkiewicz on this one.
Ooh.
But yes, I agree. Those are great.
Okay, good. Guzzbuzz is up for it. Okay, good. Yeah, Bunk. 3 hours in and you guys are still going strong. I'm at a wedding 2 hours behind you both, and I'm very much ready for bed. Yeah, me too. Mark Russell's Traveling to Mars is amazing. I don't have that. I better put it on the list. Thank you, William Lee. And so we will end it with you have a last pick, or did I do it all?
I don't know. I think I showed enough books to pulling out and stuff. I think we could call it a day.
Okay.
We'll save some more for the next time.
Well, you've been a great co-host, and I have Taylor Talks Comics website in the clickable link below in the description. As you can tell, he is a very enthusiastic supporter of comics. So go to his channel and listen to what he has to say. He has a wide variety of interesting tastes, and he definitely knows his stuff and knows how to promote comics.
Thank you
Here's
so much.
somebody saying hi to you.
Oh, hey, Low Hit. How you doing, my man?
Batman Universe is dope. Yeah, it is dope. You're right. It's good.
He was telling me I
By
need to
dope.
read that because you recommended it and he recommended it. So
Yeah, hey, Low Hit. Yeah, it is good. And then so is Tom King's Superman. That's really good too. Up in the Sky.
yeah,
They switched. Bendis wrote Batman and King wrote Superman, and they're both great books. Really great books. So you can find Taylor at Taylor Talks Comics. Please go to Organic Price Books. Thank you to the chat, mostly Cycle Cleveland and Rick Ray, but everybody else, thank you for chiming in. This has been an excellent episode because Taylor has a lot of interesting things to say. Another hit show. Right on. Another hit show. Perfect. And I will use our theme song to play us out. Thank you to the chat. Thank you to anybody who actually watches this whole thing the next day. I know.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for being on. And I agree. I need to have you on more. I definitely agree with that. So I'm going to use our theme to play us out. Peace and love. Peace and love. And thank you, Taylor, for joining.
Yes, thank you.
Batter days. Batter days. Batter days. Omnidog in the Minister of Comics. Talk forever, get right your ergonomics. Taking questions from the chat. With a name like that, you think they talk more about the bat. Batter days. Batter days.